What's going on, man? Hey, Dan,
What's up, man?
what's happening?
Just I almost played with that there. I was gonna unmute my microphone and see if I could talk over the countdown. I
Does
told
that
I
mute
totally
us
told you
when
to
we do
feed
that?
those ducks. I was gonna tell you like play that feed the ducks music as we were coming in too.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
of those titles on that music cracks me up though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I used to use this on another network. And so I was wondering when I pressed the countdown if we could still talk to each other or not. But yeah. I see some people already watching, tuned into this.
Oh yeah,
We're
welcome
just
everybody.
waiting for the TCU game to start, but man, let's talk about this
Yeah, mine's got
crazy.
the Purdue game ending, I guess.
Yeah, this crazy. Yeah, Purdue's pretty much. I mean, that's not a bad run by Grambling State. A 25-point win, but I mean, I think that's what we all expected. But uh, dang, what a day, college basketball. I mean, I thought yesterday was pretty crazy, but today might have been even
Man,
crazier.
honestly, I didn't necessarily think day one was too crazy. It seemed pretty good, like a pretty good day one. But man, today hurt. I don't feel like I
Yeah,
hardly got any right picks on my bracket today. I think I got one or two. But I mean, there were enough upsets and everything. I just what a day.
yeah,
It's been a really cool March Madness bracket already though. It's fun.
yeah. I kind of stopped checking. Um, I mean, I know who my big players are. Really, if you have a team losing in the second round or even the Sweet 16 and they lose in the first round, you're not really getting screwed over. It's when your final four teams lose. South Carolina, I believe I had going to the Elite Eight, so that hurt a little bit. What are some other upsets? See, I have Purdue going to the Final Four. If they would have lost, that would have been bad. But you gotta compare it to everybody else too. If Houston loses, or let's say UConn, because I have Houston winning. If UConn loses, I'm like, well, I had them going to the finals, but
Right.
so did probably most everybody else. So
Oh,
that's
there it
the
goes.
thing.
Purdue final 78-50.
Yeah, we're here. Gonna do this. What do we even call this? This is the first time we've done this on Peak One, a live watch party for the
Yeah, just
TCU Utah State game.
yeah, just a watch party. Invite
If
invite your friends and whoever to watch the game with you.
if
You don't have to
you
watch alone.
yeah, if you don't, I mean, if you don't want to listen to the commentators or whatever, just mute it, watch it with us. I mean, we
Yeah,
can't call it play for play. We can't show it to you at all, but we can react to the big plays, right?
yeah,
I,
for
I
sure.
don't even know man, I don't even know the rules on calling out scores or anything like that, but I mean, I assume if you're watching this, you probably have the TCU game on. Like it's 2024. Like
Right, or
you have
or at
so
least
many
shuffling
iPads
between
and
it.
computers. Yeah. You should be able to watch both. Um but yeah, I hope some of these people that are in here were watching what was it? Seems like a long time ago, just 2 nights ago, our sports page radio live stream, the second one we've done this year. Um jump in the comments down there. We had a lively audience the other night. I liked it.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know if you were there for that bracket group pick'em we were doing. That bracket is doing surprisingly well, by the way, if you haven't seen. I think we're tied for like fourth or fifth with that group bracket. My solo bracket, not doing as good. But that group bracket we did doing surprisingly good. I'm proud. I'm
Yeah,
proud of it.
yeah, shout out and appreciate it if you filled out a Peak One Sports bracket and got in our group. It was free. So there's something to be said on ours where it's our group. We want to do well. I do have another bracket and a paid group that I have not checked on at all. Like I'm just like, I'll pay attention to it after. It's hard because you look at your bracket and you're like, okay, I'm either doing good or bad, and in 5, 10, 15 minutes that could completely change. We saw what was it? What two games were on coming down to the wire at the same time? They both were under a minute
Oh yeah,
at the
the
same
FAU
time,
Northwestern game
and
and
then Yale
the
Auburn.
Auburn. Yeah. I
Yeah,
did not expect the books to win their game. I was definitely rooting against Yale, but man, they
I
they
mean,
really pulled that
yeah,
one out, man.
I was rooting against them in the sense that I had them losing, but honestly, I don't think I had Auburn going very far. So again, like as long as let's see, my Final Four is Arizona,
I think I
Houston,
had Auburn going to the 16.
and Yale and UConn. So that's what I kind of really worry about. Like I look at other people's champions, and I think we were, I think I was like tied for fifth, and most of everybody who was ahead of me had different champions, which is good because I mean, if my champion loses, then I'm screwed anyways. But that's where there was a time years ago I was in a work deal and Michigan State was who I picked to win, and that's when they lost in the first round to like Middle Tennessee State or something, and I ended up getting second place, and I was up in it until the Final Four, and I thought, man, that must count for something. My champion lost in the first round.
Oh no,
But
well for sure. Well, I mean the points like compound each round or whatever it is. So it's like in the first round, every right pick you get like 1 point.
yeah,
In the second round, you get two. In the third round, you get like four or whatever. So I mean, managing to have not only like a pick that goes to a later round, but like getting the right pick on some of those later round picks is like you can make a lot of like gap back from missing
yeah,
on that. So
yeah. But and the problem was,
if your final four teams right, I mean you're usually all right.
yeah, and I had picked who I had gotten right. The team I thought was going to lose in the finals, they made it. But the problem was me and the guy who was ahead of me by a couple of points had all the remaining picks we had were all the same. So it's like there's no way I can catch up to him because we're either getting the point or not.
Right.
And so that's why we were talking, we were going, Wednesday when we were doing our bracketology episode that I kept mentioning, I was like, wow, this is a healthy group. We had a lot of different picks. Um, and that's what you want because you want people to stand out. You don't want that one game to be the difference in winning and losing where we're
Right.
tied except for that, Am I screwing up the screen with my thing? Let me see. Let me see if that fixes it.
No, I don't think so. You
Okay.
look good, man.
Well, I noticed we're kind of like
That's why we
scrunched
keep you on the
in.
show.
I noticed we were scrunched in. I didn't know if that was because my window was minimized
Oh
or
no,
not
no, no. It's
minimized, but
just
smaller.
just the thing I put us on.
Okay. Okay. Good.
I thought it makes us look a little bit better. You can see us a little bit better.
I mean,
I was trying to
if you
trying
want to
to
say
see if
it, you want to say it.
yeah,
That
man.
TCU game. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like baseball and basketball when they give you a time to tip off or first pitch. It's always later than that. It never starts.
Well, I mean for sure, and especially when you're the fourth game. I mean they're playing all these on like the same court. It's
Shout
man.
out
One thing I
Cowboy
kind of wanted to
Homer.
talk
Yeah,
about a little
Yale.
bit,
That was a
just
crazy
to
game.
bridge some gap here, I guess. It feels like the referees, maybe it was yesterday and today, but it feels like more today, I guess. Like they've just been like really letting the players play. They're hardly playing fouls, it seems like. Even the commentators almost seem to be like, I don't know where the foul, like where there wasn't a foul there, like,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's been surprising me a bit because well, like especially with the very end of that Auburn game, we were kind of texting about a little bit, and it was like that initial like inbound, and he was right under the hoop, puts it up,
Yeah.
get those free throws, and then they come back and they almost like run like a similar play and everything, but like I was just really surprised like there was no foul there in that final possession when they were trying to get up and everything. Yeah, see, Lakers fan unlimited agrees. The refs, it just feels like they've been like super selective about like what they want to call and don't want to call, and I'm all for like refs that want to let the players play. I'm all for like I guess
Be consistent.
inconsistent.
Yeah.
But
As
inconsistent
long as
feels
you're
like the wrong
calling the
word,
same thing for both teams,
right?
not
That
only
because
both
that's really what
teams,
I'm
but
thinking, right?
throughout the game, because that's a big part of strategy that's going to change throughout the game. It's like, okay, the ref's going to call this, so we got to stop, or he's not going to call this. So as long as he's consistent, not only with, in between teams, but consistent throughout the game on what he's going to call and what he's not going to call. Um, man, what we had so much, I think, I mean, what we were talking about before the FAU game, I want to say it's that game because we had so many different things on at one time. Two really good games all coming down to the wire at the same time. But it was when remember I was talking about when they inbound the pass, they pass the inbound pass in, and
Mhm.
the defender hit the ball out of bounds, and they called it out on FAU. FAU was trying to inbound the ball,
Yeah, yeah.
and again, we like that didn't necessarily screw them. They kind of screwed themselves, and they were down by I want to say
Yeah, well, I mean, they
4 or
fixed
5
it
points
in the
anyways.
review,
No, the
but
one I
yeah.
was thinking about, they reviewed one, but this was later on, and the announcers were even saying, "Why don't they review that?" And then they passed it in, like it was clearly. I can't. Maybe it wasn't the FAU game. I'm telling you, 3 games were all converging at one time
I mean,
when this
I
was
know that there
happening.
were some rough calls for FAU in that game. Um, like,
But
I
they
mean, because
had that game. When I started watching that late in the fourth or late in the
FAU got a
second half, it was
clean
over.
block uh there right at the end of the game, and you know, they called it a foul and sent Northwestern to the line. So I mean, that was a rough one. I want to say it was the FAU Northwestern game. I'm just personally talking about a different
Yeah,
inbounding thing, because I want to say I remember what you're talking about. Um, but again, just kind of a that one's real rough for me, like, especially as, like, from, like, a coach kind of perspective and everything, because that's a tough one to take back into the locker room with your guys. And you know,
yeah. I
because like
want.
the refs weren't exactly with you, but they played terribly in that overtime. I mean,
Yeah,
I think they scored like 2 points, 4 points. Northwestern was like a perfect 5 for 5. Um, so I mean, that overtime, and honestly, I was saying it earlier too, to you, like, FAU balked hard when they didn't take that final possession and try to drive the lane for a
yeah,
layup or something.
yeah. It.
Taking that lazy 3-point shot, you know, from a double team,
Mhm.
like, the way he did too, because he just meandered up to that 3-point line. Like, I was disgusted by it. There was no athleticism. There was no like hurry up to him or anything. You know, like,
Yeah.
he just meandered up to that line, walked right up to a double team, and then threw up a terrible three. And I was like, why? Like, what a
Yeah, and
terrible possession.
that that's okay if it's okay for you to play like I'm taking the shot. We're not going to try to run an offense. I'm going to run it down to the last second and take a shot. But he was well outside the 3-point line with like 2 seconds left. It's
Yeah,
like whatever you're going to,
yeah.
get yourself set up for a shot or whatever.
And there were
But
other open teammates too, but I'm with you. I'm not even necessarily mad at the fact that he's like, "I wanna be the guy." But, like,
yeah,
if you wanna be the guy, at least make, like, a good shot attempt, you
I
know? And,
want to
like,
bring
that
this
just
up.
wasn't it. That just was not it.
I want to switch to the Auburn game, and I had to go back to look at what our text chain. And forgive me if I'm not getting, don't let your keyboard Karens out there come and tell me, no, it was 3 points, not 4 points or whatever. But I believe Auburn was down by 4, very close to the end of the game. I'm like, okay, this is really tough. And uh, a loop there that, let's see, I texted you. Auburn got fouled, or Auburn fouled. They missed a free throw. Auburn got the rebound. Um, Auburn made one free throw, missed one. Then they got the rebound, and then it was a tie up, and they got the jump ball. And so they had what is it? They were down by 3, getting the
Yeah.
ball back, and then I want to say they shot it like 3 times and got the
Yeah,
rebound,
right.
and it was a great
It
game.
wasn't from a lack of
But
opportunity.
yeah, if I was an Auburn fan or a Yale fan, that would have been the most stressful like 3 seconds. I kept looking down at the clock. I'm like, when's the buzzer going to go off? Like it felt like an eternity. When they miss it, they get the ball back, they shoot, miss again, get the ball back, shoot, miss again. Uh, like they had every opportunity to win that game, and that was
Yeah.
a crazy one. That was at the same time we were talking about the FAU Northwestern game. It was coming down to the or no, yeah, it was that one game that they were all coming down
Yeah.
to the wire at the same time. Shout out YouTube TV where I could have multi-screen watch both games at the same time. That is necessary for a time like this.
Oh, for sure. I'm missing that one this year. I'm just kinda I'm old school,
TC
like, last channel, like, going back and
Yeah,
forth between games.
And YouTube
yeah,
TV
I had
just
that a
came
few
out with the
years
last
ago,
channel,
and
but
right, yeah,
yeah, I was missing
but
that for a
I
while.
had the YouTube TV a few years ago, and being able to watch the multiple games. Same with like the college football bowl games. Being able to watch a
Hmm.
few of those at the same time and everything too is that's always nice.
Yeah, just saw
Is this
TCU's
Bama game finished yet?
about that's a good thought. TCU's about to start in about 17 minutes. So much for 8:55, right?
Oh, did they
But
push
hey,
it?
hey, I don't know that they pushed it, but I'm sure it has something to do with the Purdue game. Like they have to make sure they have time to play
Probably.
ads and
Yeah.
whatever. Um,
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm sure they got to give like everyone like a break after the game or whatever, and you sweep
oh, you
up
know
and
what? They are playing on the same court because that's the winner of the TCU Utah State will play Purdue. So
yeah.
yeah, that is why it got pushed because they're playing on the same court because they're in the same region. I think I know they're in the same town right now, the same city. I would assume they're playing on the same court, but I don't
Well, I
know.
mean, I think each region is playing in a different like city or whatever right now. And then and
Just
they will
call me
all
out. Like
weekend
I don't know what I'm
through
talking about. I don't. I'm
the
just
16th.
guessing. But yeah.
I mean, honestly, I could be wrong. I'm not positive here, but I'm pretty sure each region is like in its own city or whatever right now, and
I
they'll
mean,
play that
obviously,
through
yeah,
the round of
metropolitan.
32 all weekend, and then next weekend they'll be in a new spot to start
Yeah,
the Sweet 16,
yeah. In
and then
fact,
they'll play all
each
weekend and
region
play through
might be
the Elite Eight.
each region might have two cities, and they converge to one.
That's very possible too. They might have two courts in each.
Um, I did learn. It was only a few years ago that what it was like when they say Midwest, North, whatever. I'm
Real
like,
him. Who's gonna win?
I have
Ashton,
TCU.
you had
I picked TCU to win this game
oh
in
for
my
tonight's
bracket.
game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
Tonight
tonight's game.
TCU
If
totally.
that's what they're
Yeah.
talking about, I assume because they're talking about that. But when
Yeah,
they
right.
talk
Real
about
him.
the
You want to know who's
Midwest,
winning this TCU game? Or are we talking about the brackets? We talking about the whole tournament?
oh yeah, I have
Because
Houston
we're pretty much
winning.
talking about it all. I mean,
Yeah, I have Houston winning the whole thing. We were just talking about the TCU game, so I assumed. Um, that's what I assumed we were talking about.
I'm all over the place. So
Let me see. It'd probably be smart if I
I want to
pulled
talk
up
about it all. Urgh.
my bracket. I don't even know how to pull up my bracket right now. I'm totally lost.
I can pull it up, I guess, if you want. What do you?
No, I'm good. I'm just trying to remember the quickest way to get there. Oh, I guess we had it in our YouTube description, didn't we? Probably not this one, but yeah, I'll worry about it later. Yeah, if Houston is my champion.
Well, that one's off to a good start. Houston's winning 14-4.
Yeah, that's when I'm just gonna give up my bracket. And that's the thing. That's the thing is when do you consider your bracket busted? Like what's the
Well,
definition of a busted bracket? Like you're screwed, it's over, or I've seen people say their bracket's busted after one loss. Because always gonna have a perfect bracket.
I guess there would be like two like broken or busted brackets. The first one's obviously going to be like when you take your first loss and you no longer have a perfect bracket, kind of like when you give up that first walk or that first hit in a baseball game, you're no longer throwing a perfect game.
Yeah.
But you can still win. So I'm guessing that's kind of like what it is. I've always kind of considered like your bracket is busted or like completely broken when your champion loses. And so if that
Okay.
happens in the first round, like let's say you had picked Purdue last year to win the whole thing and they lost in that first round of 16, I can't remember who it was now. But like that would definitely be like a busted bracket, you know what I mean? First round Purdue out, they were your champion. So I mean,
Yeah.
I guess technically there you could look at it as like two ways. If anybody in the chat or watching or anything wants to correct me or tell me like maybe it is one or the other. But I guess off the top of my head, I'm just thinking like I guess those would be the two ways I would consider a bracket like busted. It'd be like your
Yeah.
first loss would break it because you no longer have a perfect bracket, but it feels like everybody's going to experience that one.
Yeah,
But I feel like a real busted bracket is going to be like when your champion loses, and then you're kind of like, well, I'm out. It's like, but I mean, I suppose you could even make it like more broad, and it would be more like when your whole final four gets knocked out. Because I mean, because like we were saying, like you can still score some decent points on your bracket if you've still got like some final four teams.
Yeah,
left.
like I
Even if you're the
mentioned,
champ.
my champion went out, but I still had a shot to win. I finished second.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always in groups and competing against people. I know there's a lot of people that just fill out brackets for the heck of filling out brackets. So to me, it's busted. I mean, I already posted that it was busted, but I guess I was being over dramatic. I am ranked. I can't even see where I'm ranked, but it's pretty low. It's not very high at all. But
in
all
our
of
group
my
one here,
yeah, all of my final
I
fours.
think you're tied for 10.
Yeah, I guess that's not terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, all my final four
me and
teams
you
are still
tied for
there.
10.
All my final four teams are still there. So technically, I still have a shot to win. I haven't done the
Mine
math
too.
or whatever. But
I have lost some Sweet 16 teams. And I want to say I've lost 2 of my Elite 8 so far. So I mean, that hurts a little bit. But my final four. What's up?
Who do you have in your final four? I was about to change the subject. Who do you have in your final four?
My final four was like Illinois,
okay,
UNC, Purdue, and Wisconsin. Yeah.
Dang. Me and you have way different. Like we have Houston.
Very different.
Purdue. That's it. But no, I was gonna say because we talked about on Wednesday on our tourney show the chances of getting a perfect bracket. Well, I was looking today, and I'm sure it's changed by now, but as of at some point earlier today, there were still 3 brackets that had not gotten a single one right. And I feel like that, I guess statistically, it's the same chance. If you're just going to go, it's a toss up 50-50. I know that's not how statistics works when it's like, we'll just throw Purdue and Grambling State. It's not 50-50 who's going to win, but if you go with those odds, it's the same odds that you're going to have a bracket with no points. And I haven't seen an update because that was like 6 or 7 games ago. But as of sometime today, 3 brackets had none right. That's got to make you feel terrible. Unless it's just an upset bracket or something. I guess that could be possible where you're picking crazy upsets.
Right.
But yeah, that's got to kill you. And
that's got to hurt. Like I can't. Honestly,
why do I even do this anymore?
No, that's exactly what I was going to say, man. I feel like if I had a bracket going like that, I probably wouldn't fill out another bracket after that. Like, and especially like for a guy like me, sometimes I fill them out like by myself and just like play against myself, and I'll have like an auto filled bracket that I like go against,
Yeah.
And so even when I'm like in groups doing this and stuff, at most I might make like 3 brackets or something. I can't imagine like just for fun, let's make a March Madness bracket this year. And then, through day 2, I've got like 1 right pick, no right picks. I'd probably just never play again. I'd probably be like, this is not my game. Like it just, I don't belong here. This is not for me.
If you're getting less than half the picks right, you'd be better off just flipping a coin and going, oh, that's who's going to win that game. I mean, because statistically,
you would be. Yeah.
After a certain amount of point. Yeah, Gary, damn harsh. No, I mean seriously, if you at this point,
losses. I mean,
let's just say after day 1, that's 8 games. You get every single. Is that right? 8 games. There is 2 games. Yeah, because you have 64, 32.
8 games in a row to win the championship.
Yeah, so 8 games per day in the first round. So you got all 8 wrong.
Oh no! You mean in round 1?
No, just after one day. one day.
One day,
Yeah,
16
so you split
games.
them.
And then today had another 16 games to make 32
Okay, so there were
for
16
the
games.
first
Okay.
round. Because
So
there's
yeah,
64 teams, 32 games, and they do the first round in 2
I
days. So
can't
16 games a
imagine.
day. 16 games yesterday, 16 games today. And then they'll play actually another 16 games over Saturday and Sunday to get through the
I mean,
second round.
I guess like my 10-year-old son filled out a bracket for fun. He knows nothing about like the college basketball we talked about. He had New
Man, he's
Mexico
the
winning the
only
whole thing.
11 that didn't win. I was pulling for him so hard too,
Yeah.
man.
It could be a bracket like that. Like I can't imagine one of those no-win brackets are like a sports podcaster like us. Just trying. We're about a little over 7.5 minutes left to kick off this game. Or
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
tip off this game. But no, I also heard and it was weird because it was an article from a gambling website, and it was talking about the it wasn't the title, but the genre it was in was strategies when picking your bracket. Was that there was always a 14 or 15 or since I want to say 2019, maybe 2021. I know there wasn't a tournament in 2020, but since then there has always been a 14 or a 15 seed upset a 2 or a 3 seed, and the upsetting school was like a inappropriate or phallic shaped or phallic named team. Like Fairleigh Dickinson was one of them. St. Peter's Peacocks was one. They were here. That was a team this year that could have pulled an upset. They
Jeez.
didn't. Yeah, it was really weird one. So, which I don't get. That can't be a strategy. It's like that's just serendipity. That's a coincidence or whatever. I can't believe a gambling site had that as, hey, look at this. Like we were talking about, a 12 is always going to be at least 112 is going to advance, or don't pick all one seeds in your final four or crap like that. But it was like, and this year there were a few. There was like Longwood, if you want to consider that one.
Man,
there are actually quite a few.
I mean, it's really I mean, it's just kind of like what you're talking about a little bit. It's not March Madness, but I just come across this thing, and being from Michigan and all.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a school in Michigan, right? I'm not going to say what its initials are, but I feel like most people in here are old enough they could spell. It's the Christian University of Michigan.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, somebody did that on purpose. Like,
I
there's
probably
no
should have
way.
paused. I should have paused for a second before that. I mean, I'm trying to look. I thought there were a few that are like, oh, okay, you could kind of point to that and be like, oh, yeah. But then again, like you could almost say anything and be like, oh, okay, maybe that's a reach or whatever, but no pun intended. But but yeah, I thought that was like that would be funny on some websites. Like if we shared that on Facebook, sure, but a gambling site like, hey, strategies to win. You might want to look at these upsets.
I mean, I love those kinds of like weird stats, I guess. Like some sex name school always wins. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, well, let me find one because
yeah, I think their example this year was obviously St. Peter's again. You have St. Peter's
that Bama
and
game finally
Peacock.
109-96. Jeez. Roll Tide, I guess.
UConn, the final score doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was like 52-11 at halftime or something. I mean, 91-52 is, a big win, but
Wisconsin down 7 right now to James Madison.
I thought that was going to be a really good game. I picked James Madison, but I thought James Madison was
well, they might win because I definitely
underranked.
picked Wisconsin, and I've been picking wrong all damn day.
Oh, did you said Wisconsin in your Final Four, right?
Yep.
That'll be a bracket buster.
That'll hurt.
Who is in your finals?
Purdue and Illinois? No, Purdue and North Carolina. Purdue and North Carolina.
Purdue and North Carolina. Okay. Not a bad one.
Because I mean, honestly, the thing I feel like I keep telling myself to like Like, oh, it's okay. I know I've gotten a lot wrong, but if I
Yeah.
still have the champion picked, that's a lot of points. Like I think if you have the right team picked in the final to win, it's like 50 points or something. It's a big swing. So I mean, if you happen to have the champion,
Honestly, I have no clue. You could tell me it's 1 point all the way. I mean, because it could be. I mean, if
well,
you
I mean,
pick I pick
each round
Houston
is
to
worth lower
win.
points.
Yeah, I picked Houston to win. If they lose, then I lose, 8 points or what 8 potential points or whatever. Who do y'all guys have winning it all? What's y'all's final four? Get y'all a little more in there. We thought we were gonna have 4 or 5 people, and we still might, but
Yeah, we might have a few
get
people
get some
kind of
of our
join us
commenters
a
in
little.
on this.
Actually, I text Ross and told him if he wants to join in a little later or something. If he can, he's more than welcome to. Gary, you got Purdue. Me too. That's who I got winning this thing. I'm the only one in our group too. I'm the only one who actually picked Purdue to win it all. Got a few Illinois, got a
Yeah.
few Dukes in there, and some UNCs, but
Not
just
if
got
Duke played like they did this one. I mean, they pulled away,
yeah.
and it looks like like if you didn't watch the game, you're like, okay, they took care of business. But yeah, up until like 2 minutes left, it was not pretty. Was it Wednesday we were talking, or did I hear it from somebody else? It was Purdue had a good chance because the year Virginia got upset as the number 1 seed, the next year they went and won the whole thing. And now Purdue last year they got upset as a 1 seed.
Oh
Was
yeah,
that was that were we talking about that on our show?
yeah. We had talked a little bit about well, only I had mentioned only twice. I only looked back as far as 2000. I'm sure it goes back further, but like really only like twice in tournament history has a number 1 lost the first round to a number 16, and the first time was 2017, I think it was. Virginia
Yeah.
lost to, um, yeah, was it like Grand Canyon or something like that?
Mm, was it
I don't even
Loyola,
remember.
Chicago
I'm
Loyola
probably
or
making
something
some.
like that?
Yeah, I'm probably just making it up.
I mean,
But they
I'll
lost
look it
that
up.
first round, and then yeah, next year like they played back and won the championship. Then Purdue did the same thing last year.
Oh yeah, so
So I mean,
there's
yeah, I mean, you never
precedence
know.
of
I
it.
mean,
Yeah, there's precedence of it where the only other time it's happened, the next year the team won. Let's see. History of 1
man, can
seed
anybody tell
versus
me what an
16.
Aggie is? Like, what is an Aggie?
I want to say it's like some sort of cowboy. Because Utah
Is
State
it?
Aggie and Texas A&M, it's like, yeah. I don't know, Texas A&M,
Well, I mean,
they'll tell
yeah,
you
I
it's
know
like a
there's
soldier.
like,
They're like a fake military school.
oh, okay.
Not
Oh,
really. I
my
mean, they
bad.
used to
Sorry.
be kind of a
Can't count
military
me out.
school.
It's
And they're
got
like,
UNC winning. I got UNC in the final, playing Purdue. But yeah, no, I know there are multiple schools out there that are Aggies, not just A&M.
UMBC.
But
UMBC. That's who beat Virginia. Fairleigh Dickinson
okay,
last
see,
year, and UMBC. Forgive me. I don't know what UMBC stands for. Is that University of UMBC?
I'm guessing Maryland.
Maryland, Baltimore County.
Boom!
See
Ah,
that was
totally
yeah.
said it.
Well, I thought Maryland, but I'm like,
I
what the
totally
hell is
said it.
BC? What the hell does BC stand for? Baltimore County.
Oh, okay. See, I feel like I would have thought something like
I wanted to say like the C was California. Like, is it Malibu, California? Like, I don't know.
oh
They
yeah,
were a
maybe.
16 seed. Calm down, people.
Yeah, I feel like I was almost thinking like Maryland, Baltimore County, something like that.
I
Maryland,
would have never
Baltimore
guessed.
College.
If you told me what does that stand for, I'm not saying I wouldn't have guessed it was some sort of Maryland school, but you don't ever
Okay.
hear of any schools like something county
Oh yeah,
outside
here
of
we go.
like
Lining up for this ball. Let's do this. Let's go, Frogs. Honestly, I'd be so pumped if they destroyed my bracket on what I guess it'll be Sunday and they beat Purdue.
yeah.
I'd I'd totally sacrifice like money and my bracket and everything to
How
watch
far do you have Purdue going? You have
TCU
them
win.
in the championship winning?
No, I don't actually. I didn't. I haven't made a bracket with TCU winning.
No, Purdue. How far do you have Purdue going?
Oh, winning. Yeah, I have
Okay.
Purdue.
All right. Well, this will help me out. It'll knock you out of the way. Yeah, I'll
So,
lose how many ever points because I have Purdue losing to Houston in the
but
Final Four.
I
But
would give
yeah,
up those bragging rights just to. Boom. Oh, great shot. Let's do this, frogs.
man, that'd be hard to be on the tournament committee, right? Seeding these teams.
For sure.
Like
For
you have to be
sure. Yeah.
because 9 and 8 are so close. Like it's one to pick
Yeah.
who's in the tournament. It's another to accurately seed them. I mean, because I was getting onto it saying, well, FAU's only ranked so high because they were in the Final Four last year, and I even picked them to win. Like I ragged on them, and I thought, well, I think they'll win one game, and they honestly probably should have. They had that game. They just let Northwestern hang in there too long. Yeah, Utah State Aggies. Let me jump in here. I'm gonna figure out the definition of an Aggie. What is, I want to say it's something to do with
I
Cowboys.
know, right? I'm right here in front of my computer. Google exists. It's an incredible time to be alive. And I'm like, what's an Aggie? Can somebody just tell me? I don't want to
Yeah,
look it
this
up
is Texas
myself.
A&M, Texas A&M University. Sorry, Utah State, but um,
I mean, I feel like it's going to be the same no matter what. Like, I assume you're right. It's got to be some kind of like cowboy or like ranch hand or.
well, when you look for a definition and the word is in the definition. That's not quite this, but it might as well be. What is an Aggie?
Right
A
there, it's like,
student at
what is an
Texas
Aggie? And it's
A&M.
like, an Aggie is an Aggie.
Well, it said an Aggie is a student at Texas A&M. Well, no, they were called the Farmers. The term Aggie reflected our agricultural roots. I guess
Agriculture.
like ag, like you're in the ag
Yeah,
department. Yeah.
agriculture.
Basically something a farmer
Did you ever
working in
watch
agriculture.
Letterkenny?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
It's pretty funny if you ever get a chance. You're looking for something kind of funny to watch. The first time I actually watched it, so it's a bunch of like farmers, rednecks, but they're in Canada. They're all in Canada. And a
Okay.
buddy of mine showed me the
I
show.
think I've seen clips like on TikTok or something.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
Like these
got
guys in
another short.
overalls that are like shooting out insults or something to people or
Yeah,
good
yeah.
comebacks maybe.
Well, one of them they do like a podcast radio show where people call in, but it's called Crack and
Yeah.
Ag, like an agricultural farmer
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
Crack and Ag, and I thought that was real
Huh.
funny. But honestly, it was pretty funny. My buddy showed it to me, and the first 5 minutes, like the first episode, I could barely understand what they were saying because of like all the like regional slang. But it was cracking me up. I was just laughing endlessly. It was really funny. So it definitely took some like getting used to because their whole jargon and everything. But totally worth checking out if you haven't seen it, or if anybody in the
Yeah.
watch party here's watched it.
What is that?
Encourage Ashton to watch Letterkenny. I've also been trying to convince him to start watching F1's Drive to Survive. Oh,
Is that on Netflix? That one's on Netflix.
Yeah, that one's on Netflix. Hey, PFD, what's going on?
And then what was the other one?
F1's Drive to Survive.
No, the other one. Oh, that's what you're talking about? That's on Netflix?
Letterkenny is on Hulu, I think.
Okay.
But Letterkenny is just like a TV show, a sitcom, whatever. But it's funny. It's real funny. You got to get a little used to like the whole Canadian-esque aspect of it and their jargon and whatever. But it's funny.
I feel like I watched a few Canadian shows back in the day in high school because there were whatever channel it was on. There was a lot of shows that just happened to be set in Canada.
See, I don't feel like I really watched a whole lot of them. Ross had got me into Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of episodes of that.
And I mean, it was all right. It was kind of funny. Um, but man, well, there was a big one I was going to mention. I know I got into. Nope, I lost it now though. Oh well.
Got James Madison 30-16 over Wisconsin.
Oh
Houston's
really?
got a pretty big lead on Longwood too. So what are our 12-5 matchups? What are the other ones? No, this is the right mouse. UAB lost. Grand Canyon. What does Grand Canyon play? Are they playing tonight?
Oh yeah, that one should be coming on soon.
Oh, I thought we were almost done. And then that, oh no, that New Mexico was
Oh, looks like we got 3 games going right now. I got TCU and Utah right here.
yeah,
We're kind of watching in the background. Who is this? Houston and
Longwood or Long Beach. Is it
Longwood.
Longwood or Long Beach? I know Long Beach is in here too. You know, Long Beach State lost to Arizona. So yeah, Longwood.
No, excuse me. Yeah, so yeah, Longwood. And then
I wonder what the initials would be if it was Longwood versus Long Beach State. LBS.
and then James Madison in Wisconsin here. So, and actually, the winners of the Houston Longwood game and the Nebraska Texas A&M game play each other. So,
That was Texas.
well, yeah,
Texas
A&M
A&M
beat
won.
Nebraska. So yeah.
Okay. What do I have over here? Too many screens going on, trying to keep up with everything, man. Yeah, next time we're going to use your idea. Forget all this. Just simplify it. Get it. We just need a producer to do all this for us.
Honestly, that's part of my idea too. Is like if we set it up with like the little watch party where we're all together, we could switch like me and you producing every so often. You know, it's like you don't have to do the whole game, the whole show. We could switch back and forth. It's not that difficult. But that way we have somebody that's kind of like ready to interact with our awesome chat here and keep that going a little bit. Let people know what everybody's doing. What are you drinking there, Ashton?
So, guess you're talking about me. I have Heineken. They are not an official sponsor. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. I know YouTubers say that all the time. This is not an ad. It's not.
Right, yeah,
Heineken
not,
doesn't pay me.
not sponsor.
I prefer Heineken.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
if it's cold,
we'll learn as we go. I got this Canadian Hunter whiskey. They had like these little bottles. It was like $3 or whatever at the spot I went to, and it was like buy one get one free. They were trying to get rid of it. I was like, I'll try it. Why not? $3 for 2 little flask bottles. Seems like a good deal, right?
Yeah, I mean,
even for bad
depending
whiskey.
on what it tastes like. Yeah, I mean that's true. I feel the same way about.
She said it tastes kind of like wild whiskey or wild turkey.
Okay.
Maybe a little.
I felt the same way about vodka. When we do another non-sports related podcast in here on weekends, and those guys really like to drink. And I like whiskey too. I usually go for Woodford or 1792 or something. But they do either Crown and Coke or Sprite and vodka, and they go through that vodka like crazy. So I get like a big. It's not quite. I have no idea. It's not a liter or whatever, but I get the biggest one I can for as cheap as it doesn't matter what it tastes like if you're mixing it with Sprite, right? But the other night,
well, until you're hungover.
Yeah, true. But the guys were, I didn't drink it. I'm just trying to be a good host. But the guys were going to stay over. So like, hey, we're going to do the podcast and we're going to party. And then I realized it's bad when you buy crappy vodka when they want to do shots. Because like that, it's like, yeah, this vodka. Because I've had vodka before. I'll just sit there and I'll put an ice cube in it and I'll drink it if I don't have whiskey or whatever. But yeah, that was some pretty bad tasting vodka. but I'm more of a whiskey guy than vodka.
Same.
But
I
I'm not
mean,
going to do shots of whiskey unless it's like Jack Daniels or something. Like I like my like. I'm not going to waste my whiskey on that. I'll buy cheap whiskey for them, but
yeah, I mean, if I get like a nicer whiskey and stuff, I tend to make like an old fashioned or something,
yes, I love old
um,
fashions.
and just kind of enjoy it, you know. For the
I like
most
when I
part, if I'm like drinking
no
at
good.
home, I'll just get like wild turkey or something and just
Yeah,
like have a few. Like honestly, I usually just drink it out of like this little mini mason jar, and I just kind of sip it out of here, you know. Have a little Coke,
yeah.
whatever, you know. Not trying to do anything super fancy with it or anything, you know. But yeah, I
I,
definitely I love a good old fashioned. I'll actually I feel like I'm a little snooty about it too. I'll go to places because I mean I bartended for a time, so I'll definitely go to a place and like order an old fashioned and then be like, this ain't it. Like you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
I like. I don't tend to like when we go out
yeah, see
to.
Lakers fan, you get
I
it.
might have a beer or something out, but if we're on vacation or something, that's usually what I go to as an old fashioned. And I find that when you ask for one, they get really excited, especially if you ask a bartender, because it seems like a lot of people don't really ask them to make old fashions. So
They've
when
gotten
I
more
first
popular, it
started,
feels like, but yeah,
yeah, when I first started getting into old fashions, I would look on drink menus, and I'm like, I know it's not on here, but will you make me an old fashioned? They'll perk up, get really excited to make me one. Um, but no, yeah, I get it. Depending on where you go, it tastes completely different. Which it's not really like
yeah.
an
No, I mean, it just depends on how
official
they make it,
drink
you know.
anymore. It's like, yeah, it's not as strict as some drinks because it's just like that's how they made cocktails. That's why it's called an old fashioned.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
sometimes they'll ask you like, what whiskey do you want or how do you want it made or whatever. But lots of times sometimes I'll put too much sugar in it or whatever, which is weird because there's a set amount you're kind of supposed to put in there. But
Right. Well, I mean, if I'm being completely honest too, right? God, I gotta stop saying that. I realize I say that like all the damn time. I gotta
I
cut it
did
out.
that with absolutely and
Yeah,
100%. I
I'm
think I listened to
I'm
a
working on
podcast.
it.
I said 100% like 500 times. Don't worry about it.
Expand that vocabulary. You know, I got a college degree. I should be able to be more
It's
clever.
it's from TCU though. So I mean,
I mean,
I'm just
I mean,
TCU's no.
the,
That's actually a really good
the
school.
army
So
paid for it. I'm just saying, you know, it's free for me.
does it
So
matter who paid? Though I mean, like
mm,
that's not even a dig. I couldn't even say, well, you didn't pay for it. That doesn't matter. No,
I mean,
that's
no,
still
you
the
paid
same
for it, man.
education.
Taxpayers, that taxpayer money. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Appreciate
welcome, man. You're welcome.
it. No, no, no. You're welcome for your freedom.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we can sit in here and talk about
Like
sports
I
without
was
the
the one
risk
who
of.
like delivered it to your door. Like, hey, just so you guys know,
Yeah, you gave
here's
me
your
my
basket of
freedom. I
freedom.
handed you your education. Let's just say that. I'm sure you had a lot more to do with my freedom than I did with your education, but who
I
knows?
feel like it'd probably be the other way around. I probably had.
I just think there's a lot more people paying into that than there are people in the military. But
I mean,
let's not
that
let's not
is
get a
true.
debate started that's not sports related. That's what I hate is when
Yeah,
people
yeah. I mean,
latch on, especially on some of the shorts we post. Like people will latch on to the
oh,
stupidest things. Like that's not even
I mean,
good. Stop.
half the fun of the podcast is getting to talk about stuff that you just enjoy talking about too. Though, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, haters don't bother me. Bring it on. You're still a fan. Admit it. You're still a fan. That's how you know when you made it, when you've had a hater. When somebody comments on it's not even your opinion, it's that you accidentally said like uh man, what was one? It was like we were talking about Steph
blue is the
Curry.
greatest color on the
No,
spectrum. You're like, what
we were
about
talking
green?
yeah,
And you're like,
we were talking about Steph Curry and we
oh,
said
come on.
he went to Davidson. Like just out of like it had nothing to do with it. Like we weren't talking about the fact that he'd gone there, had not gone there. It was just a mess up in words in the moment. We were talking about his NBA career, and somebody lashed out and was like, "That's not even where he went to school." Blah blah. You know, it's like, yeah, that has nothing to do
Must
with
have
the
been
video
Steph
you just
Curry.
watched. Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, uh, we're like the you wouldn't expect him to have this Hall of Fame type career coming out of Davidson. Like that was just the point was still made that he came out of a small school. It was just in the moment we knew where he went to college. It was just
Right. Yeah.
off the top, and that's just what we happened to post as one of our reels or shorts or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, people need more
Come
things to
on,
do, maybe
frogs.
more things to do. Oh my gosh.
I'm not like the biggest basketball fan or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
But I am like a very, very big fan of like sport and competition and all this stuff. And
Yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
breaking down, you know, all different sports and stuff. Honestly, uh I kind of mentioned it on Wednesday on sports page and everything. But like when I was in Afghanistan, I spent like a fair amount of time. Like I didn't even look up the rules for cricket. I just watched the game and like figured it out,
And that's
and
one
I
of
had a
the
blast doing it.
more that's one of the sports like you have to watch. Like you could read about it, but I don't think you could learn reading about it like
No,
others
you're
because
probably
it's
totally
kind of
right. And to be honest, having like a great understanding of baseball helped me out a lot too.
yeah,
Um, I also happen to I remember when I was a kid, we did a cricket week or whatever in PE or something. So I
really.
knew like a little bit about it as far as like
Yeah.
the this is what I know about it now, right? Their pitcher is called the bowler, and he throws the ball, and he can bounce the ball one time. He's he's trying to bounce it past you or under you and hit what's called the wicket on
Yeah,
the other
knock that
side. If he
down.
hit, yeah, and when he hits that or whatever, that you're out.
Yeah, you have to hit it and run back and forth
Yeah, and
until
then
they
you
get the
run
ball
back and forth
back,
between
and
the wickets, which are basically like the bases.
yeah, but
And
it's
there's
just
there's
2
another you
back
have a
and forth.
teammate where you both run back and forth, and you have to be like in the zone to be safe, but that's why they use like their bats to touch the
And
wicket
that's
to
how
be
many
like
are
in
they
the
called
zone.
points or runs? Is it like
I think it's
baseball they call
runs. I think it
so
is
that's how
runs.
many runs in, like, if you hit it out of the park or hit it over the fence, a home run is, like, worth 6 points or 6 runs.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 points or something like that.
I know they
Yeah.
have different versions of it, so it depends because like, some can last a few hours, some can last a couple of days, some matches.
Yeah, I know they have like I think they started like implementing like kind of like mercy rules for their like innings. It's like if you score so many, they move on to the next one or whatever. But anyway, what I was gonna say though is like when I'm watching basketball and stuff, like the coach in me gets like pretty irked when these guys just like jack up threes. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what are you
that's analytics
why?
now.
Like
Yeah,
right.
that's like
I feel like that's really just this big analytical side of me that's like, why? Like
and
find better shots.
I
Cricket's
feel
dumb.
like
Gary doesn't like cricket. All right.
I feel like growing up, there's a certain and it may be different from other people, but a certain era in your life where you stick with and it's nostalgic. And for me, I think it's like the early 2000s basketball where it I don't know, it makes me angry. It annoys me watching a game that's like 138 to 120 or something. And to me, it's like you shouldn't score more than 110 points or whatever. Like that's a game. Like if you score over 100, that's a good offensive game. And I guess you could say it's more entertaining, but I enjoy watching offenses develop more than just like fast break back and forth. It's like it's hard to even keep up. And it's like
Yeah.
if you have a 10-point lead with 3 minutes left, that doesn't mean anything in today's game.
No, I totally agree with that because I definitely remember like in the early 2000s um and like well like around like 2010, 2011 when the Mavs like won and everything. There's like a lot of games that get up to like 120 points. And I remember like even in high school seeing that kind of score, some like one team scores 120, and it's like,
Yeah.
was nobody playing defense? Like what was happening with this game? Which is crazy to think about now too, because I feel like you don't necessarily see like a 120 as much as you were in like the early 2000s, but you definitely have like higher scoring offenses. Like offenses are scoring more points now in the NBA than they ever have before.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like I kind of agree because there's something kind of satisfying about seeing like just a good block, like just having a guy go up and really just like smack the shit out of that ball.
Yeah.
I love a good block, and it's like watching somebody like knock down threes feels like it lost its lackluster. It's kind of lackluster now. It lost its
Yeah,
luster or
because it's
whatever.
so it was
Yeah, because like Steph Curry made it so common. It feels like, and now everybody's putting up threes. It just doesn't feel as significant as it used to be.
I can't remember who it was. I'm trying to see. It was one of the games today. It was a smaller school that had an upset, but they're like their one of their players. It showed his field goal attempts, and it was like 97% of them were 3-pointers. Like he had attempted like 4 shots that weren't 3-point attempts. It was like 300 that were. Like that's just today's game. Today's
Yeah.
game is just jack up as many 3-pointers as you can if you're decent at 3-pointers, because like if you shoot 30 or whatever percent you shoot from 3, you're going to continue to shoot that. And if you shoot enough of them, it's better than just going for 2. But
Basketball's better now, Globe Media says. I just don't know if I agree with
I don't
that
know
though.
about better. I can get with it's more entertaining,
It's
but it just
different,
depends what you're looking for. It's definitely more fast paced, but like I think it's more entertaining to watch a baseball game on TV with the pitch clock. But at being at a baseball game, it's definitely not better. Because I get you can say, hey, now a normal game starts at 7 o'clock or whatever. I'll be home by 10:30 or 11, but now I can be home by 10. It's like you're going there to be entertained, like you're paying for the same seat. Doesn't matter how long you're going to be there. It's like we were talking about playing golf. The point of golf is to play the least amount of golf possible. It's like, well, you're going to go be
Right.
entertained. You're going to spend a few $100s on tickets and concessions and parking and everything for the experience to no, it didn't last 3.5 hours. Now it's like 2 hours 45 minutes. That's great or whatever. It's like watching a game. It's much easier to sit down and watch a game. That's all great, but on TV. But going to a game, so I mean, I don't know. I'm not like looking at looking at the TV and being pissed and like this game sucks now or anything. It's
I
definitely
mean, I
more
feel like
fast
I was
paced, but
already
I
one of
liked
those
it better.
people. Yeah, I feel like I was already one of those people at a Rangers game that I've never been so bored by baseball that I've been like, man, I wish they would speed this up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now I definitely remember like watching some of the games that were like
yeah,
record length, and I understand like that's why they started talking about implementing like a pitch clock and things like that. But like I guess I was just one of those people that was like, I don't know if this is necessary, whatever. I actually don't have a problem with it now. I guess it's grown on me enough that like I'm like
yeah.
it keeps the pace going. Like I can appreciate it. Um One of my initial complaints was in fact the fact that like I always kind of thought that baseball was kind of one of those games where like the pitcher would kind of control the tempo and the pace of the game by pitching faster or
Yeah,
slower and just kind of
yeah,
dictating that speed of the game. And that was kind of like part of a team's strategy or could be. Um
yeah. Because there's a
Ultimately though,
hundred
like
and
implementing the pitch clock, I don't feel like changed that so much. It just made the
yeah,
slower guys work a little faster, you know?
yeah,
Because
uh,
the guys that I actually thought had the better pitching strategy were the guys who were like pitching, pitch, 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 like
yeah.
like
And there were
not really even
definitely some
giving
guys
batters
that
time to like get out of the box and like stretch and
there were
come back.
definitely
It was like,
some
nah, man,
some
next
pitchers
pitch
that
coming.
just walk off the mound and take forever,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, and it helps that, but I don't think it was an overwhelming problem at all. Utah State about to
No,
take the
I see.
lead.
I agree with that too, though. But I mean, but if it helped them like round the game into a more like regular amount of time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus like being like, oh, baseball takes somewhere between 3 and 5 hours. It's like we're no longer the cable guy.
Well,
It's
how come nobody does
okay,
anything
well,
about a college football game? I mean, it's not necessarily just the game. Part of it is it's like, damn, every time you get a first down, the clock stops, which they have changed to like the last 2 minutes or whatever. But it's like with commercial timeouts or media timeouts and everything, it's like from start to finish, it's like 4 hours. It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
but it's hard to try and like speed up a game that has a clock on it versus like baseball or even like, well, I mean, golf has a clock on it. You know what I mean? Like you have a
But
set
like
amount of time to take
NFL
the shot.
games, it's like 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. But it's like
I
college
mean,
football
for
is the
sure. I mean,
exact same clock, and I think they let the advertising dictate it, where there's a lot more media timeouts.
I'm
I don't know
sure. Yeah.
exactly what it is, but you know why it's not a big deal? It's because college football is more popular than
Way more
most.
popular.
Yeah, pretty much anything but the NFL. That's why nobody even thinks about it because it's an experience. But
Oh, come on,
well,
frogs.
just back and forth. Utah State looking to take their first lead
Yeah,
of
the
the
last
game.
few possessions, nobody scored. Man, I will say one thing I really like about the Horned Frogs basketball team. They play some tough defense, and even against Houston in that what was it the
Big 12 championship,
yeah the conference
or was it the semis?
quarterfinal semifinal.
I think it was the
Um,
semifinals.
yeah, I think it was. Um, like man, we talked about it a little bit on Wednesday too. I guess this is even the better platform to actually talk about it. It's so funny and stupid to me, but I'm gonna say it anyway, right? TCU was actually playing like good basketball. They just weren't making any of their shots, which is a
Yeah,
like a counter intuitive type thing to say. But they were playing really good defense. They were getting turnovers on Houston. They were like making it difficult for Houston to score, but they just could not score themselves. And for obvious reasons, like
yeah.
you can't win a game if you can't score, you know. But they were
I
definitely
mean,
making it
we were
difficult on Houston. But man, it was one of those things that was so frustrating because it was like they were getting plenty of opportunities even when they were down, and they managed to get it back within like 6 or 8 points at one point.
yeah,
Um, just playing tough defense, getting turnovers and whatever. But they were still missing so many shots because I mean they only shot 23% by the end of the game, and man, and it was worse than that going into halftime. I think they were only shooting like 16% or something.
yeah.
So it was crazy frustrating as like a Horned Frog fan and like wanting to see them play better and do better. And it's like they were doing everything that they needed to do except make their shots, which is like the number one thing you have to do in basketball to win games. You have to score points. You're
Score
not
more
you,
points than the
yeah,
other team.
yeah, you're not
It's
gonna win any sport if you're not scoring
yeah,
points. Like so, it was
but it's not.
it-
Yeah, it's not always simplified in that. I mean, we talked about baseball. It's go back to a reference on that. If there's a big difference on you know getting a 1, 2, 3 inning or getting two runners in scoring position and then leaving them on base. I mean, obviously
right.
you don't score at either one of them, but it does look better. It gives you better, I guess, motivation and you know you're like, hey, we're doing positive things. We just have to get over the hump. It's not like you can look at the score for the Houston TCU game and part of it's like, man, Houston's just rolling over them. But in general, it's like if you watch the game, yeah, they're playing a lot better, but TCU's just not making their shots. It's not as big of a deficit as it looks. Like the score doesn't really paint how the game's going, although the score is pretty much the only thing that matters in the end. But it definitely gives you, I mean, TCU something to look forward to, at least something to work on. That's what you want. You don't want to. I mean, I guess you do want to, but it's different if you play your best game and you still come up short. You want to go back and look. Okay, we lost, but look, these are the things we did wrong, and we can improve on those things. Obviously, knowing you're going to play in the tournament.
Yeah. No, I mean, I I love everything you're saying because like I kind of agree in the sense that it's like to come out of a game and be like, hey, you know what our biggest issue was that like we just need to make more shots. We just need to work on our shooting. I think is ironically kind of like a good problem to have because your problem isn't like your conditioning or keeping up on defense. Your problem isn't like putting pressure on the other team or like stopping them from scoring or even like getting rebounds offensively or defensively. Your problem is just sinking shots, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like other than this like core fundamental part of the game that you absolutely have to have because you have to score points, your team is playing great basketball. But it just feels so crazy to say like, "Oh, we're playing really good basketball. We just aren't making our shots." And it's like, isn't that basically what basketball is? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It just
mean,
it feels like the wrong thing to say about your basketball team, but like after watching them against Houston, it was like, man, they played really well. They just couldn't make any of their shots. If they would have made even
that's
like
definitely
10% more of
something.
their
Yeah,
shots, it would have been a very different game.
that's definitely something you say in the locker room or in the huddles. That's not something.
Right? I mean, as a
And I guess
coach,
the coach can also mention it in a press conference, but he's not going to be like, "Man, we played our hearts out. Too bad we couldn't make shots." I mean, if you're debating with your
yeah.
friends, you're not you're not going to take just took the lead back. You're not going to say, "Well, I mean, they played great. They just couldn't make their shots." I mean, you're not going to
Right.
brag about that, but that is definitely a factor. Like you have to take that in consideration. It is something. My watch telling me it's time to stand up. It is not time to stand up unless
Oh,
I'm
I'll
going to go
stand
get
up. Let's
another
go
beer.
frogs.
I'll stand up to go get another
Man,
beer.
Utah State just not going down without a fight though. And I respect that.
I mean, it's a 9-8 game, so you would expect this to be a close game. Um,
I love these 9-8
wow,
matchups. They're usually very competitive, very close games.
Houston
Um,
43-16 at halftime.
ooh, sorry, what's
James
that? Say that
Madison,
again.
Houston is up 43-16 at halftime.
Oh, okay. Ooh,
James
Wisconsin though
Madison,
down 20 to
yeah, they're down.
33.
And there's that St. Mary's GCU game or Grand. I guess
And
I'll say
Utah
Grand Canyon. We're talking
Utah's playing
TCU, so we'll
really
say
good basketball right now. They've got a better rhythm going than TCU does right now. Yep, another steal. Ugh.
And man, before the tournament, I was thinking that Grand Canyon St. Mary's game was a good game or was a good opportunity for either of those teams because you had Alabama or Charleston the next game, but Alabama looked good.
They looked
I
real
wasn't
good,
thinking,
real
yeah, I wasn't
strong.
thinking, I was thinking that's a team you could probably beat, but I don't know. Looks like Grand Canyon can pull off the upset that they're probably just walking into a buzzsaw on Sunday. I mean, you're eventually just going to hit North Carolina, right? Or I guess Michigan State, but oh gosh, another commercial. I guess this game did get started pretty late. I was about to say we're already an hour in, but we started half an hour before the game started.
Oh, sorry, I got
Okay.
distracted by like 3 other things.
I mean, it's not like this should be the number one thing you have going on right now, right?
Oh, don't say that, Ashton. You are the number one thing in my life.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about this thing, the network. I guess I can switch over. Let me know when TCU comes back on. I'll switch back over because that James Madison,
Sure.
Wisconsin game just got kicked back off or tipped off. I keep saying kicked back off.
Well, I mean, we are technically more football people than basketball, but
I mean, would it even say tipped off in
I've
the second half?
always
Because
loved
they
basketball.
don't do another tip offs, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've
Quick
always loved
score.
basketball, and honestly, this the whole streaming and Peak One thing helps give me like more incentive to pay more attention to it. A lot of my friends just aren't big basketball fans, so I, tend to backburner it a lot.
Yeah.
But man, especially right now, the incentive to watch more of it. I mean, I love March Madness and college sports a lot are always great. The camaraderie and the atmosphere and everything is always awesome.
Yeah.
But even the pro sports and everything. And Luca's a future Hall of Famer, and he'll be playing for at least probably 10 more years. So I
Yeah.
mean, pretty cool that we got him in our neighborhood on our team. Like
For a
able
couple more years at least,
to
anyway.
watch that and everything. Man, I mean, I understand like Mark Cuban's not like the guy anymore, but I know he's got say in it. I can't
Well,
imagine Luka's going to
I
go anywhere.
no, I mean, yeah, it would
He'd be
have
a
to be
Mav for
Luka's
life.
decision. I mean, no one's gonna get rid of
Yeah,
Luka. It
he
would have to
really
be
won't have to leave.
yeah, him wanting to leave, and it's just, what's his motivation? All you hear from him is he's happy, but of course, that's what you gotta say.
I mean, I feel like if he wasn't completely happy, we'd have an idea
Yeah.
of that, but
I mean, we're still not there yet. I
but I
mean,
mean he's such a generational player, and he's exactly the kind of face you want for your team. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because he's not doing anything crazy. He's not,
Yeah,
like
getting in trouble.
sliding
Well,
into a bunch of
off the court
DMs or
anyways, yeah.
something. Yeah. He doesn't have a bunch of like off the court antics and whatever. And because to be honest, too, man, I had thought of this like a long time ago. I brought this up with players I coach and things like that, and I'm like, if you're ever looking for like the example of the like type of athlete to be, Google Derek Jeter. And if you
Yeah.
don't believe me, you can do this while you're sitting there right now. If you Google Derek Jeter, you won't find hardly anything about him in his private life. And in fact, all the images and pictures that you'll find of him are him in like tuxedos and suits at like events, right? Like award events, red carpet events, whatever. He stays so off the map with most of his private life and everything
That's a good
that,
PR team. That's all that is.
well, I mean, it is,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's also him like
It's
staying out of
also not
trouble. He's
doing anything,
he's
yeah.
he's in New York City. He's not out drinking at 4 a.m. Like picking up chicks and whatever. Like he's
Yeah.
he's being more low key than that. Now for all I know, he could be partying hard at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or
And,
even going to parties in general, house parties. Um,
I mean,
as
it
long as
seems
you're
more
not doing
likely
a
that
bunch of
he's
crazy
not
stuff.
going anywhere, that he's staying somewhere, and like the party's coming to him. But
Yeah, I mean,
I feel
it's
like you would hear something about that, some stories from someone somewhere or something, But like you don't ever hear any of
yeah,
that stuff. The man stays so off the grid.
it's different now though. I mean, if there were
For it
parties
is different,
happening, there's
definitely. And
social
well, I mean, but
media.
he was also
When
at
you're going
the
the
kind of the
'90s and
beginning.
early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, he was the beginning of a lot of that. But I mean, still, I think it makes for like a good example. It's like this is the kind of
Yeah,
guy you want to be, like, And I mean, on top of that, I mean, he made all the money. He was the guy and for the Yankees. He got an entire retirement tour out of the MLB for what he
yeah,
did. He lived in New York City. He dated some of the hottest, women in Hollywood. So I mean, you can't say it was like a bad career, you know what I mean? But like he
yeah,
definitely did it the right way. And I mean, that's a
yeah,
tough one to do, man. As a
yeah,
Yankee in New York City, like I'd almost expect you to get into a little trouble. But
yeah,
I mean, even Plaxico Burress went to a strip club with a gun, like
yeah. And some of these are like really. I'm not even saying like don't go out and party, don't do this because I luckily don't have, I don't have addictions or things that, I drink, but I don't, have to drink. I can go weeks without having a drop and it doesn't bother me.
sure,
So I'm not trying to say that, but yeah,
must be
if you
nice.
have to go to yeah,
Like,
if you have to go to a strip club, maybe just don't bring your gun with you. I'm just saying. I'm not an expert
no,
on
honestly,
guns.
I've thought things like that too. It's like if you want to go out drinking, maybe just hire one of your buddies to be your DD for the night, or like
Or your CC, your concealed carrier.
if I was an
Let
owner of a
him
team,
carry
I
the
would I
gun,
would
right?
have like a designated team of drivers.
They do though. They do. I know the
Some of them
Cowboys
do. A
do.
lot of teams
And
do,
the leagues
and the
do, but
players
the
still don't use
players
them,
don't like using them
which
because
is
it's like,
stupid.
well, but okay, well, yeah.
Fuck.
But at the same point, if you had your full-time job, your boss said, "Yeah, just let me know if you need a ride." Like, would you really want to call your boss and be like, "Dude, I'm wasted. Can you send somebody?" I'm not saying I wouldn't use it, but I can
For
understand
millions of
why.
dollars, and my boss even told me at one point, like, it's okay, like, that's what this is for,
Yeah. But if you have all
then
those
yeah,
millions
I
of
would.
dollars,
Like, it would be
it's
fine.
like hire your own guys or Uber or whatever, but it's like you
That's
don't
also fine
just
if you would rather spend the 50
hire
to
somebody to
$100 on
keep
a yeah.
hire somebody you trust to keep you in line. Like, dude, you need to stop or whatever. Just like always walk with me. You never touch any alcohol. If I get crazy, pull me, calm down, man. Calm down.
Oh, come on, frogs. You fouled him on that 3. That was a bad decision.
Let's jump back over. I think Houston's playing again too. Let's see if I get the
Man,
right
Wisconsin
mouse.
better figure it out.
Yeah, I mean they're hanging in there. At least they were. They're on commercial too. Same commercial.
Now I was doing that earlier. Actually, I got like crazy deja vu because I watched like 2.5 commercials or something, and I switched back to another channel to check
Yeah,
on
it's all
another
the
game,
same
and I saw the exact same
March
run
Madness
of
commercials.
commercials, and I was like, didn't I just do this? Weren't we just here? Man, I'm so sad nobody else wanted to join us for the watch party. I guess we're the only TCU fans.
Yeah,
It took me and a Duke fan. Jesus.
and you're lucky Duke won because I might not want to. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, and you might not have even wanted to watch this one.
Yeah, I might not have wanted to jump in and talk basketball. No, man, that Duke game was scaring me. And
Man,
so
that one was
you look at the score, it looks like okay, they did what they're supposed. It was a
no,
rough
but it
looking
wasn't
game.
it
They
wasn't
pulled
until the
away.
end
Yeah,
they finally like put that all together.
yeah. I'm worried. I don't know. So they're playing the winner of James Madison, Wisconsin right now. Looks like James Madison. I was expecting to
That's so
Duke
crazy.
to win that. In my bracket, I have them beating James Madison the second round. That was more of me thinking, oh, that's going to be a good game too. But I don't know. James Madison might. I want to say run away with it, but I think Duke might have some trouble with them. Or even this Wisconsin team, if Wisconsin can come back. Yeah, see, I just saw 64-47. That is not what I remember the score being at all. It was much more closer
right.
than that. Much closer than that.
Yeah, no, they really just managed to get it to take off there in the last few minutes because
And really, I wouldn't even give
who
props to
was it?
Duke on
Damn
that
it.
one.
Vermont wasn't
Because Vermont,
they
because
didn't
I
play
think,
very well the last few minutes.
yeah, it was more on Vermont than Duke because they're just
Yeah,
making
it
stupid
was.
mistakes, letting them get
Well,
under their
it
skin.
felt like they started to fall behind on Duke finally, and they panicked and started to try and jack up more threes, which they were missing. And Duke already has, like a 4-point lead or whatever, 6-point lead.
Yeah.
And I mean, you get possession back, you go down, you work some clock, and you score 2. You just keep your lead, like. And so they just kind of kept panicking, kept going for threes, kept missing. It spiraled from there. It's quicksand, man.
I don't know why people are emailing me in this ungodful hour.
On a Saturday?
Well, it's Friday technically, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is Friday. Man, actually, the other night we were texting a little bit, and it was like I realized it was like 10 p.m. like right when I sent a text, and I almost followed it up with, "This is like my last text for the night. Like we can resume business tomorrow at regular hours. Like too
Yeah.
late for this nonsense." Like,
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm thinking right now. It's like, why are
I mean,
Utah
some
State?
recreational streaming that's different, but
Oh yeah, yeah. This is prime time
but
for
like
that.
doing work.
No, for sure. And yeah, no, they're up by 5. TCU needs to get it together here and just make sure they don't give up all the momentum going into halftime.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, you definitely like to think you go into halftime if you're down. You're only down a possession.
Yeah, for sure. No, this one's not like full-time job. It's definitely podcast stuff, but
Oh,
not in
I just
particularly this podcast. But yeah, it's definitely
really,
extracurricular stuff.
I just really don't like the way TCU's like moving right now. Doesn't look
Hmm.
good.
I can definitely see some of that. They just aren't making shots as well. Ooh, and
Yeah,
got
that
the lucky
last possession
bounce.
was definitely just a big missed shot.
And got the lucky bounce on that one as well. I mean, that's great that it went out of bounds, but you were almost giving up that rebound.
That's 90 seconds of the half.
Yeah, you definitely need to get a basket here. Quit. Like that's good. You got to stop and you just give that up. They call a jump ball on that.
Come on.
Yeah, and that's Utah's possession, man.
It's like everybody's missing their shots, and so no one wants to take any.
Yeah. Which is exactly what you don't want to get. Because sometimes, like, we'll bring up another baseball reference. When you're in a slump, you just kind of have to try to hit your way out of it. And Utah State scores again.
Oh,
And sometimes that's what it is. I know people are going to get upset. It's going to hurt your ego to
that hurts.
keep missing shots, but you just got to get back in it. That's how you get yourself out of the slump. Just start shooting. And
Oh, I know, right? Like, I feel like a lot of times, especially with these college teams, they like panic extra and start feeling like they have to like take more of these threes
there you go.
and whatever. And it's like, man, just give yourself. Oh,
Yeah, you're within.
nice,
You're
nice.
within 10 points. You're within 10
But
points.
yeah, it's like
So
just get some good
just keep the.
shots,
Don't
get
let
your
it get away
confidence
from
up by
you.
sinking these shots. But like this pop up shot he misses right here,
Yeah,
you got to make that,
it's
man.
troublesome. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you
And that's
just
the second time
don't
he
want to get in a
just missed one like that.
situation where they get on a run right before halftime and get the momentum, and you
Yeah.
just keep it within 10 points and just make a couple of baskets. Just at worst, go into that feeling indifferent.
That monkey man is I think that's his like directorial debut. I actually just saw the main character guy.
Yeah.
Uh I just watched The Green Knight on HBO recently. It was pretty good. Wasn't bad.
So I'm not sure if there's enough time here to get another possession because I'm assuming Utah State's gonna. They have no reason to hurry
I
this up.
mean,
Like
30
you have a two
seconds is
possess. Yeah,
a two possession, yeah.
you have a two possession lead. You want to hold for the last shot. You have no reason to try to score real quick and get the ball back. Now TCU can get a stop. Maybe they have a chance for a final shot, but
No, there's
right now you just make sure
I
Utah
think it's
State
just a
doesn't
little
score.
over a second between. It's probably even less than it's probably like 0.8 or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, and they're not,
Um,
and that's probably gonna be taking up the time it's in the air. I don't know how early they'll shoot. Yeah, oh, yep,
I
yep,
mean,
that's it.
call me a little
Okay.
crazy, but I'd almost even take the yeah. I'd almost even take the penalty there or whatever, for
The foul.
the shot clock.
Oh, shot clock violation.
Yeah, just because it's like, I mean, they're gonna get it back with so little, and you're up by 6 going into halftime.
Yeah.
How much does it really hurt you? But
Yeah, but with 0.8 second difference, if you just throw it up, as long as you get the shot up uh, before the shot clock goes off, then that'll take
rah TCU, rah TCU.
the extra time off the clock just in the shot.
I realize now that actually y'all, well, you might be able to hear the game. I could hear the game. I don't think our viewers could actually hear any of it, but
No, mine's
they were definitely
mine's
playing my
muted.
fight song, so I had to get in there.
I have the sound off. Even if I had it on, it would come through my headphones. So
I have
nobody would
mine
be
on
able to
like
hear it.
super low.
I hope they can't hear it. There's a lot of copyright infringement maybe going on. I don't even know if that's even the right.
I feel like we would have been stopped already if that was the
rebroadcast.
case. But I mean, honestly, that's why I asked you earlier too. If you can't hear it, I can't imagine they can hear it.
Yeah. I'm hoping they're watching it the exact way I'm watching it, on mute,
Right,
listening to us.
You know, we'll plan better in the future for some of this stuff.
There'd
to
be
be honest,
a lot
man, actually,
more.
I appreciate you just being like willing to give it a shot, you know, in a 24-hour notice to, you know, put a little watch party together. We'll do better in the future. But I just want to point out, between you and me, we will know forever that the very first Peak One watch party that we ever did was a TCU game, and it was just me and you.
Yeah.
And in the future, when we got like, you know, 20 people there and we're doing bigger things, we'll be able to be like, hey, man, you remember when we did this? It was just me and you.
There's a lot of ideas rolling around and things happening behind the scenes. We're probably going to be at restaurants or bars or something doing some of this.
I mean, we're super
Maybe a lot
young.
of Mavs games,
We're
Cowboys
what,
games,
1,
stuff
2
like
years
that.
old. You know, like we're so young, man. We got so much growth ahead of us, and
We
we got
just
big things in the works.
Peak One just celebrated our 1 year a couple of weeks ago. So
Yeah,
we're 1 year
so
in.
I mean, I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to keep these things going. I know we're starting small here. Our first watch party, 2 of us, you know, me and you, and the 7 viewers we got watching. But, you know, we'll make it happen, and eventually, you know, we'll be having 20, 50 people and doing all kinds of stuff. It'd be great.
I wonder. Just give me 1 second. I wonder if I could turn my mic around. I'm not going to do anything drastic. I'm just saying if I could. I have a 70-inch TV behind me that I could be watching the game on, but I just couldn't get the camera angles and the mics and be able to talk to you. I probably need some time to plan that out.
I mean, if you ever need any help with like moving or rearranging some stuff.
Oh no, that's not.
Honestly,
not
though, that's why I was saying like it might have even just been easier if you wanted to like put your iPad like in front of you under your screen or something. And
I got more than that, man. I got tripods and all kinds of stuff. I was gonna set it up there and just sit right here and look at.
Or even just, I mean, I'm just logged into Hulu on my web browser, so I got it on like a split window here.
Yeah, that's what I have. Same here. It's doing its job.
We'll figure this stuff out. I got a backpack full of stuff and everything I was going to bring over because I got. I don't remember if I told you, but I got one of those like stands or whatever that you put your phone on, and it does like the face tracking, whatever.
Oh, really? Yeah. You just.
I got one of those. I got a pretty sweet. Hang on, I'm gonna grab it real quick.
Yeah, we have a lot of interesting equipment. It's just getting it efficiently used for.
I just got this
we can make
tripod.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing it on like TikTok and everything. This thing's like sweet. It's like it'll go up to like 6 feet and everything.
Yeah.
And then it's also got like a remote on it that you can like take off. You can use it as like a selfie stick and everything too.
Yeah,
it feels like super solid. I got it for like $20. And then
my wife's got a white one that I use. It's a selfie stick and tripod. I don't think it goes.
I also just ordered like a gimbal. You know what a gimbal is?
Yeah.
I ordered one of those gimbal handle tripod stand things for your phone.
Yeah.
I saw it on TikTok. I managed to get one. It was like $50, and after like the discount plus my like first time ordering from TikTok or whatever, I ended
Mhm.
up getting it for like $17 or something like that. Like super good deal. So because actually I grabbed that because you had mentioned like maybe going to like a Rangers game, and I was like, maybe we live stream
Yeah.
going to a Rangers game because I mean I don't know if you know this, but Wednesday is Dollar Hot Dog Day, and that's my favorite day to go to a Rangers game.
Yeah. They still have the all you can eat seats. I remember at the old stadium, the old one, the
I don't know.
ballpark in
I mean we could
Arlington,
totally
we
check
used
that
to
out
do that.
because yeah,
It was definitely worth it because you just yeah, I think they're relatively expensive. I don't know if they still do it now, but the new ballpark, they
they
were
were like
quite, pretty
$35.
expensive. But the old stadium, it was pretty decent seats. It wasn't the worst seats, and then you got like your
No,
hot dogs
honestly,
and your drinks and your peanuts and whatever, all you can eat. Like once you get one of everything, that covers your seats because that's how much it would cost to go get them
yeah.
any other time.
I got all you can eat seats a couple of times. I actually got to go to I went to 2 of the last 3 games in the old stadium against the
Yeah,
Yankees. Um, I wanna say I bought tickets myself for one day or something, but, one of the days I went was with, Wounded Warrior Project. They do, like, events for, warriors and stuff, and, the tickets they got were all you can eat seats.
yeah,
And I've done it before. To be completely honest, if it's like just me and a buddy or something like that, all you can eat seats, not necessarily like that worth it or whatever. But if you have kids or anything like
yeah,
that, those seats are so worth it. They're perfect for if you have kids. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
because I mean, especially considering like you can get your kid a hot dog and they're like they only eat half a hot dog. Who cares, right? You get them some nachos, they only eat half those nachos. Like who cares? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because it's all you can eat. Whereas like I feel like when I go by myself or like, it's just me and like a buddy or whatever, I probably drink more than I eat at the ballpark just
yeah,
because of like the cost of food and everything. I'll eat a little something before, mostly have beer while I'm at the game, and then I
yeah,
might get something on the way home or whatever. But but I do love going on Dollar Hot Dog Day because I mean baseball and a hot dog, some beer, like
yeah. I
but those hot
I
dogs
know
are definitely not worth more than a dollar. I don't want to pay $5 for that hot dog. Like, sorry,
back
Nolan.
in
Like, I'm just
back in
not into it.
2010, it was before their. I mean, I guess it was the same season as their first World Series run, but I went a bunch of times. I remember like I had bought tickets early on like cheap nosebleed tickets, and then I bought them again. And like after the second time of buying them through the Rangers website, they started sending me like half off ticket vouchers or whatever. And
Oh
so
yeah,
I'd be like, well, it's half off the order. So the more tickets you get, the more. So I'd get with my brother and be like, hey, let's go in on half
right. Yeah.
tickets,
Hey,
get like four.
everybody.
And so I think the next time we'd bought like 6 tickets, and then I got another half off thing for buying those tickets. And I think I went like 5 or 6 more times, every single time getting half at the last game of the season. I remember, or last game we went that season, that was when they clinched the division, or no, they clinched it on the road. It was the first game back. They were, because they announced them as the AOS champs, and we went and we sat the right field seats, but it was the lower level, like the 10th row or something, and we paid like $10 for the tickets, $10 for each seat because we gotten such a decent discount. I want to say they were like $40 normally.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm
man,
look.
I used to go to games like a lot. I would go to at least probably 2 games a month or something for a long time. To be honest, actually, like not to get necessarily like too deep or personal or anything. Baseball helped me a lot with like my PTSD and stuff when I got out of the
Mhm.
military. Um, and just helped me like get out of the house and go do something kind of outside and around people. Um, So baseball will always have a special place in my heart for
Yeah,
that reason too. I mean, I've always loved baseball, but it helped me out a lot. And but I want to say it was section 39. Me and my buddy Kevin used to go, and we would like always sit in this section. It's right down the first base line of the old stadium. And it's literally like I don't know how familiar you are with the old stadium, but it's like when
yeah,
you walk in the first base gate Straight in front of you would be like where sections 39, 40 and all that are. And then our section was like right there to the left, and that's usually right about where we sat. I'll never forget this, man. We're at the game, Rangers, like down by 1, I think. It might be tie game or whatever. Going to the bottom of the ninth. I think it was a tie game now that I'm thinking about it. Going to the bottom of the ninth, there's like a runner on second or third. Elvis Andrews comes up and he hits like a clean infield single, just goes right through the gap. Run comes around, scores. Me and Kevin standing there, we're like, yeah, high five everybody around us. And then we like turned to our right and like walked out of the ballpark. We're like first people out, like walk out, go down the road. Here's the craziest part of the story for me anyway, right? This is where we always sat. So we always did the same thing. We parked in the same spot or in the same area, walked down, go straight into the ballpark, straight to our seats. Super easy to get in and out of the ballpark. Our parking lot is now the new Rangers ballpark, where we used to always park. It is now the third base side, I believe, or the left field, outfield area but that's where we always used to park because just before we kind of stop. Well, I don't want to say stop going to games. Like I moved to San Antonio and everything, but it was like during that time they started closing off that part of the parking lot and everything and started tearing it all up for the new ballpark. And I was like always so mad about it because I was like, this is where we always park. Like, you're ruining this for me. Like, but I mean, man, those were the days. I used to love it because we always parked on the very backside of God, I'm trying to remember what street that is. It's like Nolan Ryan Parkway and Cowboy Way, I think is what it is. But we used to like always park like kind of in the back because nobody would park back there. We'd be able to like play catch or something, have a few beers. And so, I mean, it made for like a little bit of a longer walk, but we were able to get in and out of the ballpark so easy that, who cares? But man, honestly, I haven't been to nearly as many games since the new ballpark. I'm just not as big a fan of the new ballpark, but
here
we should go to some games.
Well, here in a couple of months, the Railroaders are going to start, the Cleburne Railroaders. And I have passes to that, media passes to cover them because I'm going to write. I write articles for the Burleson Buzz.
Oh yeah,
on the Railroaders. So that's going to start.
Talk to you about that.
We got you covered.
Small world a little bit, but my girlfriend was actually contacted by the Cleveland Railroaders today, and they were asking her if she would be interested in being a sponsor for this pet competition they're about to do. I guess they're like doing something.
Their stadium hosts a lot of events.
Yeah, I guess they're doing something to try and kind of pick a pet dog mascot for the team. And so we were talking about it, and I was like, like as awesome as that would kind of be to like sponsor that and everything, maybe don't sponsor and enter the competition instead. Like,
right.
I think we got some cute dogs we could put in there. Two of our dogs do chewy work, but
nice.
I mean, it would be fun. But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny because I was like, Ashton does some work with the Railroaders and stuff.
Yeah, well, for sure, you'll see. Everybody will see content coming up here pretty soon. Me going to those games and writing articles and all kinds of cool stuff. Wisconsin was coming back. I know they had the ball down by 6 or 7 and missed a layup. And then James Madison came back and shot a 3. Now timeout, but it's a 10-point James Madison lead. And Houston's still dominating, if you were wondering. It's not even close at all.
It's not this Houston game I feel like I'm worried about. It's this Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It's going to ruin
Houston may have their backups in for all I know. They're about to take a 40-point lead. And then, that Grand Canyon St. Mary's, it's 4-point game. About 5 minutes left in the first half, 4.5 minutes. I need an
Are you
energy
on the
drink. I don't
TCU
think I
game
have
right
any.
now? Because this guy doing this commercial is hilarious.
I'm not, but I can be.
Might have missed it now, but he. I wish I could remember his name. He. I don't know how much like video games and stuff you play, but in Grand Theft Auto 5, they've got like all the different radio stations.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
guy does a like a talk radio station, and it's one of my favorites because it's so ridiculous. But the guy's
So
constantly doing like a mantra humming type thing where he's like, "Say it with me now, home,
yeah, so
home."
so call
I'm
me
like, "You're
crazy
fucking ridiculous, so
because
ridiculous."
I have kids, but no, I've owned every Grand Theft Auto game. I still play, like that's like my stress out game.
I
I'm
love
not
Grand
gonna.
Theft Auto.
We can only say so much terminology because it's YouTube, and you can get
Sure,
demonetized for. But what people normally do when you go, I've already beat the game. Like there's some side missions you can still that have nothing to do with the main point. But as you would imagine, most people get on and do when they have 30 minutes. That's to do with weapons, But
right,
I'm not going to use any sort of terminology. But yeah, that's kind of like my de-stressor. I just jump on Grand Theft Auto for 30 minutes, cause
right.
havoc
And
or
just go
whatever.
give them what for.
Uh, yeah, but my kids walk in and out when I'm doing this, and obviously I stop any graphic things, or if there's something in the middle, I pause it and say out. It's not like I take my characters to strip clubs or pick up hookers and stuff like that. Like I know
Right.
lots of people do, but sometimes you're in the middle of something and some of the characters just say bad things. So I pause it like, no, you go in there. So for that reason, I've muted the radio. So I don't even hear what the radio stations are anymore. But when
Oh,
I first
okay.
got it, yeah, I've always listened to it. I
Well,
don't even know
I
if
mean,
it's,
most of them, a lot of them are just music. It's fine. It's just music.
yeah. Well,
But
yeah, no, the
there's a
talk show hosts and
couple
the commercials are
where they're
crazy. They're
where they're
funny.
doing like talk
They're
show
funny.
stuff, and those are usually the ones I like to listen to because they're so ridiculous. Um,
I
but
do play
yeah,
I play City Skylines on my computer, like a city building game
see, I haven't
similar to
actually. I've
SimCity.
seen it.
If
I've
you
heard of it. I've never actually played it. Is it? I mean, I'm guessing it's like Sim City.
Yeah, it's forgive me for hardcore fans. It gives you a lot more than SimCity. I was a huge SimCity fan. It's better to me, but the way the AI works, where I can't remember the terms, but it's like SimCity uses like statistical reasons like why traffic backs up, and but in City Skylines, you could click on one person or a car driving, and it tells you who they are, where they live, and they are driving with a purpose. Like it takes up a lot more bandwidth. And again, if I'm using incorrect terminology, I apologize, but more bandwidth for your computer. So I couldn't play City Skylines 2 when it came out until my brother gave me for Christmas a gaming computer to be able to handle that load because the bigger your city gets, the slower your computer runs. But in general, it's way
Sure.
better. And there's all these mods you could put on here. You could basically play God mode on this and be able to do whatever you want. If you want to add
See,
the
I might have
mod
to
and
check
put a
that out.
building right on it, yeah, I like it. It's cool or whatever. But the point I was making is they have a similar radio station deal where it's not quite as ridiculous as Grand Theft Auto. It's not inappropriate, but it's just like these random people. And I know one of them. It's funny. He in one of his ramblings he keeps saying epitome, which he's clearly saying epitome.
Epitome.
But
Yeah.
like you read the word epitome, it's epitome. Like
Right. Yeah. I
I
did
know
that for the
you.
longest time when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
exactly.
Epitome.
That's
Listen,
that's how
epitome.
like people who mispronounce words. I think they just read more because they don't hear the words as much. They see them the first time and they try. I use my
Chameleon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I use my dictionary.com app a lot of times. Like I have no idea how to pronounce what it means, but I don't know exactly the right way to say that
Man,
word, so
honestly,
I'll
like back
use
back in the
dictionary.
day, right? How old are you?
That's a good question. I am 34. I'm going to turn 35 in August.
Okay. So you graduated '08.
Oh 07.
07. Okay, that's not as bad. Okay, so we're
That's not
a
as
lot
bad.
clo-
Wait, were you trying to say
we're
I'm old?
we're closer than I thought. I'm 06. Me and Ross 06. Anyway,
Oh, that's nothing.
so
That's like
I was reading like Harry Potter when we were kids, you know,
yeah,
and I at the time just reading it and before the movies, I did not know how to say Hermione. I'm pretty sure
Hermione,
for the longest time I was saying like Hermione or something like that. And then
Hermione.
I can tell you for a fact for the longest time I stopped trying to like read or say her name. I think I just named her like Sally or something. Every time I saw her
Yeah,
name, I was just like, "Oh, Sally. Yeah, like her. Yeah, you know her." Like
bothered. Like sometimes I'll just go over a word. I like to read a lot. I'll just go over the word, but if I see it again and then again, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna look it up because in my mind, I want to be able to know I'm saying it right. Not that I'm going to necessarily use it in conversation, but it just bothers me if I'm not. Maybe it's my OCD not
No,
reading
I
it
mean
right.
I'm that way like more now and with access to like the internet the way we have it now, it's different. But
It's
like
easy to stop, look
as
dictionary.com
kids
and
when
let
we were,
the
like I was
person
doing that
say
and I
it.
was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. And I just remember like the first movie came out and like the previews or whatever it was and the interviews and all the hype, before it came out and everything. And it finally was like revealed or I heard it said one time where it was like Hermione and I was like, is that how you fucking say that? Like I was never gonna guess that. Like, never in a million years was I ready to be like Hermione. Like, I definitely thought it was Herm something. Like,
Terms. Yeah. Lots of times it's like, I'll see the word and I'm like, who am I kidding? I'm never going to use this word ever in
right?
conversation, anyways. Um, but yeah,
Man, I will say
I always
that's
thought
one
that was funny.
advantage of like reading stuff on my iPad. Like when I come across a word like that, I can like
You click,
double
yeah,
tap
click.
it and look it up. Like,
And I
what
feel
is
like
this?
most of the time I know what the word is. Like I know what
I'm
know
pretty
at
good
least
at drawing
you're like
context clues.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because you I mean you know the context of what it's talking about. You know what it's saying. Um, but have you ever like seen a word? You're like, I have no idea what that is. You type it in, let it the app tell you what the word is. You're like, oh, that's what that is. You're like, I've heard that word before.
Right. All
TCU
right. Strong start,
still down by
TCU. Let's
2.
just.
Wait, hold on. This back up a little bit. Oh, oh,
I got
am
four
I
here.
caught up? Yeah, 4. I was behind a little
There we
bit.
go. Turnover. Let's go.
I oh,
Oh,
so
come on.
I have YouTube TV as I mentioned, and we pay for the $20 a month for 4K because we get unlimited DVR. And so I set up all college
There you
basketball
go.
to record so I can rewind or do whatever I want if that's even the proper term
Oh,
anymore.
nice.
So when I went back to the TCU game, it resumed it from the last play, or the last time it
Oh,
was playing.
from
That's
where
why I
you
was
left
behind.
off,
Yeah.
yeah.
Houston up
Which I mean, not a bad
71-34.
feature, but when you're trying to like
You
watch
have to
live
remember,
sport,
like if you're going back and
yeah.
forth, you have to. Well, usually when I'm on my TV and you go back, it gives you. Oh, here's Tony. It gives you the option to catch up or go live or last play, but on my computer, I'm just not used to it. What is going on, Tony?
What's up, guys?
Hey, you made it for halftime.
We
Yeah.
thought we were just everybody abandoned us.
Yeah, this still looks all right, right? Everybody good? That's fine.
Yeah, hold on. Let me fix my. Here, I'll just move over. Get in the middle here.
I think it looks a little bit better than all the extra. That's
What? I have a good background here. I don't know why you're trying so hard to hide it.
No, I do too, but I feel like we can see each other better this way. You want to do it this way? That's fine.
No, it's fine. I don't
You're as
care.
in control of this as I am. Like,
That's true.
Man, what a wild March Madness we've had
I
so
know
far.
we've been talking
man,
about it.
day
It's
two.
ridiculous.
Man,
It's kind of. I mean, this is a good game. This TCU game's pretty good, but it's kind of
Yeah.
disappointing seeing Houston's a blowout. I mean, I like that. I picked Houston. I picked James Madison, but they're not. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe this will be an exciting game. But yeah, we talked about the Auburn game and the Florida International game all culminating under a minute, one possession game all at the same time. And
yeah, that Yale and Auburn game, that was a fun one earlier.
yeah, I was saying like in that last possession because I thought it was over. It was like a 4-point game with a few seconds, and Auburn had gotten the ball back, getting fouled, made the first shot, missed the second, got the rebound, and then there was a tie up. They got possession, and like that, they shot and got like 3 rebounds, all or 2 or 3 rebounds, all within that last possession. If I was a Auburn or Yale fan, I was telling Dan that would have been a stressful, probably 5 seconds, but it seemed like forever.
I mean,
Yeah.
even not as an Auburn fan, it was like a stressful.
I
Honestly, I
know,
was
I was
surprised
going,
there was no
yeah,
like penalty or anything in that one. It just
yeah, they were letting him
surprised
play.
me.
Yeah, I don't know if the refs wanted, like, because they had just called 2 fouls against Yale to let Auburn be in that position.
Which man, for me, those were like really weak fouls. Like,
Yeah,
that's like everyday play in the NBA. Those were really weak fouls. But then, like you said, that for the last play to let it go, that's probably the right call not to interject themselves into the game at the end.
yeah, because was it a 2-point game?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think that's what they want. So yeah, it's very rare that you see like short shots that get missed and everybody's jumping for it. 3 rebounds that every single one's clean, no fouls. It's a lot of people all down inside the key. I hate that they don't have the scores up here. I have to zoom down.
I'm just happy my Aggies took care of business.
Which
That's
ones?
true, they did.
No, I'm just kidding.
He's an A&M fan, yeah. We were having a discussion
from a
about that.
Duke
We were
fan.
looking up what the heck is an Aggie, and Texas A&M and their obnoxious selves said an Aggie is a student that goes to TCU. I mean, that goes to Texas A&M. I'm like, really?
That's right.
I mean, I
You know
always
what?
thought it was more like a cow.
You should take all that back because part of their like science and aviation department, they have an entire building of that named after us. Or Orville Nix.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's us, but sure.
It is. It has to be.
It has to be. I mean, yeah, I can't have that conversation on YouTube Live or at all. It's a private thing.
See,
I probably
Dan,
shouldn't
Dan
say
would
that.
like this though because he hasn't seen us have those heated debates, UT versus A&M.
Oh, see, I mean, I'm always here for it though, because I mean, I was always a UT fan first. Man, to be completely honest, I hated this so much, right? But I'm in like my senior year at TCU, and for one of my classes is like a special education kinesiology course, and you can either like write this paper or you can like volunteer a couple of hours of your time a few times over like some weekends. And then there was like this third option where you could actually just go do like the Special Olympics over one weekend with the instructor and I guess like whoever else signed up. So I ended up doing that, and it ends up being held at Texas A&M,
Oh,
and they like do it in the kinesiology rec building. Man, I got there and I was like, I hate Texas A&M so much, but this is amazing.
yeah.
Like, oh my God, their facilities were incredible. They had like a dozen squash courts. They had like 4 full-size basketball courts, 3 Olympic-sized pools. Like everybody there was having a great time. I was like, man,
I mean, nobody
I've
can
never
knock
been a Texas A&M fan, but this campus
nobody can knock them for their facilities and their campus. One of the most beautiful campuses I've ever been around.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I didn't like go inside, but we were outside Kyle Stadium, and I was like, this stadium is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It's a pro level stadium.
Oh, and it's really cool, in Bluebell Park, their baseball ballpark, where you'll be watching a game, and in the outfield, there's the train tracks there, and a train will just cruise by. You'll just see it, and
right, yeah,
it's awesome.
That's one of the coolest features for a baseball field, I think.
Yeah,
yeah, and I remember being there, and I was like, I hate Texas A&M so much, but this is so nice.
Damn it, this is nice.
Right? Yeah.
Ooh, almost and one. That was a wild pass.
So you guys will have to catch me up a bit on this game. I just saw a little bit before the half.
It seems like TCU. It seems like TCU should be winning because, or I mean, not. It could be winning by a lot because to me they've played pretty rough. It didn't seem like they've had a really good
game.
Their
offense just
really
doesn't feel very fluid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just not running real smoothly on offense. the score's pretty indicative of exactly how the game's going. TCU started off stronger. They had the lead for a while, but there toward the end of that first half, Utah State played it back, got like an 8-point lead, 6-point lead, whatever it was. So TCU's still, playing from down, which, to be completely honest, kind of seems like their MO as of late. They're definitely kind of a second half team anyway. But Ash and I were talking a little bit about TCU against Houston in the conference champion game or the semifinal or whatever. TCU was playing like really well. They were doing a good job, like putting pressure on Houston and getting turnovers and things like that. They just struggled to like make their shots. And you're obviously not going to win a game if you can't score points. So, I'd like to think TCU will kind of figure their offense out a little bit here to help them finish this game out. But if they can't make their shots, they're not going to win. I feel like that's pretty common sense statement to make about a basketball game,
Yeah, it seems like that's, from what I can tell, that's the only thing they need to do is just get the offense going and get baskets to fall.
Yeah.
Or else they're doing a pretty
and it's not even that they're getting bad looks or tough shots, it's that they're just not making the shots that they need to be making. Yeah. And I mean, it's like beating a dead horse. And I think it's so funny to be like, well, you're not going to win if you don't make shots. But I mean, that's kind of the first fundamental part of any sport is scoring points.
Yeah, but it's not a situation where they're just scoring and they can't stop anybody and it's just a track meet.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, too, we were talking about this a little bit too, but it's like one of those situations too. Like TCU's not even like in that weird panic mode where they're like just jacking up a bunch of threes and missing.
Yeah.
Like they're still trying to like play and it seems like they're still like committed to their offense and trying to, make their plays happen, which is good. I think that's where they need to stay. But yeah, it's just, I can only imagine it, even as the coach and players, you've got to be crazy frustrated that your shots just aren't falling. It's the most annoying way to be losing a game is to, have the looks, have the shots. You just can't drop anything. Like,
yeah. Yeah. You can't even buy a shot.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, because you've been involved with us since the beginning of last football season, high school football and Friday night football. Is this the first time you and Tony have been on a broadcast together?
Definitely. I'm not positive. I think this might be the first time Tony and I have actually like met.
Yeah, like actually spoken. Yeah, probably so.
Seen each other.
Yeah.
And talking like this face.
It's weird because it's the same with like Cole, who was on some of our other shows. Like I met him. He was interviewing me for one of our podcasts. You mention it,
I guess because I was on the Super Bowl show.
So
that's right. A little bit.
But like I'd met Cole and done an interview with him or whatever years before we started Peak One, and then I was just like messaging him back and forth on Instagram. He got started, and then he jumped on one of our morning shows, but he had already kind of been established. And talking to him, I was like, I think this is the first time I've like talked to you in years. But I watch his shows or listen to the podcast, and it seems like I'm always talking to him or whatever. So it's kind of like, when's the last time I've even talked to you? I'm just watching you talk on your show or whatever. So I mean,
no, really, I mean that's kind of how it is for me with Tony too. Like I catch y'all on what is it on Saturday?
Yeah,
the lead off. Sorry, I catch on the leadoff on Saturday and like some of the shorts and everything that go through. I've definitely known like Tony's been a part of it. In fact, I know we've like even had some group texts and stuff about, like what was going on with the season and whatever, like last year and whatnot. So, I mean, we've definitely like communicated. I don't think we've actually like
had a one-on-one. Yeah. Like
had actual like conversation necessarily about.
And it's funny. You're right. Because, watching y'all's broadcast with the football and then watching the sports page also, you almost feel like you have been conversating, like you do know somebody already.
Yeah because
I mean I'm trying I'm trying to make it feel comfortable.
Because I figured, I'm like, there's no way y'all hadn't been in like the same place doing the high school football stuff, but it was like me and Dan would do the broadcast, and then you and
Yeah.
Ross would do the broadcast, and it's like, yeah, that's true. We hadn't been to a lot. It just seems like that. Why is every single game on commercial right now?
Well, when you got a bunch of
TCU's
good
back.
bros, like that's just how it feels. They mesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Dan. It looks like Wisconsin's. I mean, they're down 11 with a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
There's your first Final Four team gone.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt the bracket a little.
Yeah, anybody who has Longwood, I don't think it's looking good either.
Tony, how's
It's a
your
four-
bracket doing?
It's a 40-point lead.
It's pretty much
Houston.
blown up.
Is it? Who'd you pick to finish?
Houston.
Who's your champ?
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah,
They're doing pretty good right now.
for the
I
most
mean,
part. That's the only one I
if
got.
your champ is still in it, we were talking about this. Like if your champ is still in it, you've still got a good chance at making good points. Like you just
Yeah.
Yeah.
you need that one team to keep winning.
Well, I
always
have all
struggle with
my
trying to
Final
pick
Four
a.
to then.
I struggle with trying to pick a Cinderella team. Like, who's it going to be? Every year, and I always struggle to get that.
Safe picks are like 12 seeds because those are the more common upsets.
Yeah.
Or I think you said this year was last couple of
11.
years was 11 seeds.
Well, yeah, 11 is technically the statistical favorite, underdog favorite, but 12 is real close.
Yeah.
But technically, I think before the expansion to 68 teams, I think it was 12. But once they expanded to 68 teams,
Yeah.
in
Yeah, so
2011 or whatever it was,
Yale broke
they
that, being the
changed.
13.
What's that?
Yeah, Yale broke that for this year. Yeah.
The 13.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, some big 13 upsets this year, man. Oh. Come on, frogs, get it together.
I need to look this up real quick before I start talking about it and sound like an idiot. Or bring back something we talked about earlier. Now we have Tony. Let me see if I can back up my. No, I can't. I'm trying to I'm doing this backwards. I have a point to make, and I'm trying to back it up with evidence. So let's go the other way around. Okay, I got it now. This is what I want to talk about. Okay, so earlier we talked about me and Dan, an article I'd read by a gambling website on strategies to pick your bracket, which this made no sense because this has nothing to do with strategies, but it said recently, since like 2019 or 2021, that every year there was a 13, 14, or 15 seed that had upset the higher seed in the first round, and all these teams had some sexual reference or phallic term. Yeah, so we talked about Fairleigh Dickinson, we talked about St. Peter's Peacocks, and Oral Roberts in 2021, and they were speculating on who would be this year, and it doesn't look like that trend's going to pan out. But you had St. Peter's this year again. You had Longwood playing Houston. I think Longwood's kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
And then there was another one, but like St. Peter's is kind of a double entendre, St. Peter's and Peacocks. But they said that has nothing to do with strategy, though. That's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're a detective, you don't believe in coincidence.
No.
That's what I was doing. I had formed an opinion, and I was going to look up my. But yeah, that's pretty much out because Longwood lost. Yeah, they lost 40 points, 86-46. Grand Canyon St. Mary's is a 1-point game at the half. And then James Madison's about to win.
Do you think that all the transfer portal stuff is evening out? Like, we haven't seen it in football as much, but that we're seeing it here. That a lot of
Man,
these.
did you see that the transfer portal opened just before the March Madness tournament started?
Yeah. Like, do
Like,
you think
what are they
that's
doing?
why we're getting better games and we're getting more competitive all the way through?
It could
Honestly,
be.
it's very, very possible. I think the conversation to have right alongside this is actually the statements that came out from Nick Saban. What was it last week? I think it was, and he was talking about student athletes aren't as concerned about like the education and the mentorship and things like that they're going to get from these colleges and schools and coaches and whatever, as much as they are concerned about like how much these schools are willing to pay them and what kind of NIL deals they can get and
Yeah.
everything. And so it's like really changed kind of the dynamic of where players are going, where they want to go, and whatever. And I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I think there's something to be said for both sides. I can appreciate a college athlete that understands and recognizes the fact that like after college, their athletic career like may be over, and there's obviously a time to take advantage of this, and it's now.
And
I
there are players
also
out there who
understand.
don't even play college sports because they're like, there's no way I could, they're coming from poverty. They might have to support part of, be part of their family
Also
support.
true.
But I think
Yeah.
you're also seeing the opportunity that some guys get that aren't quite developed for the collegiate level yet. So they go to smaller schools, D2s, and then they transfer their way up to D1 and actually become,
I
you know,
think
pretty substantial players, the D1
what
level.
whether it's
Yeah.
a thing or not in college basketball, I think it should be. Like, I mean, I think you should be seeing it. Not I'm saying it's right or not, but for a smaller school that, if you talk about football, doesn't even compete.
Yeah.
Because let's just throw out St. Mary's, for example, or even Grand Canyon, that even at the beginning of the year, you're competing, like whether you think you can make it or not, but you are legitimately competing for a national championship. Grand Canyon, even if they have a football team, they're not even in the same, they're not Division 1 or FBS or whatever, it's called now.
Yeah.
And even at that, legitimately, now I know it's changing now, you're going to have more college playoff teams, but before this year, like legitimately, you're talking about maybe 8 schools that have a chance to win it all, right? So, and adding one player, depending on the player, doesn't necessarily make a big
There we
difference like
go.
it can in basketball. You look
Yeah.
at Colorado, Dion brought a lot of talent, and it did
Yes.
bump up a notch. But in general, it kind of evened itself out. He's going to need a couple of years. But you add one superstar to a basketball team, that can make a big difference,
Come on.
especially if it's like Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
You add one player, hey, they might just win their conference easy because of that and make it to the tournament. Now, playing against Dukes and North Carolinas and Kentuckys and Kansases that have multiple NBA caliber players might have issues with, but I think you'll see more of the same smaller schools make it into the tournament because of that reason. They're going to be a little more consistent. As you saw, St. Mary's
What was that?
made it again. You
Ugh.
saw FAU make
Well,
it again. San
and
Diego made it again.
I think that's the positive side that us as fans are getting from the transfer portal and those opportunities with NIL deals is that lower level schools that you would consider lower level, the St. Mary's and stuff, they're going to be more competitive. Yale having an opportunity beating, a pretty solid Auburn team. I mean, that was big today. That changes the whole dynamic, especially of basketball at the NCAA level. I don't know that we've seen it in football as much, and I don't know if we ever will. Maybe. I mean, I think if
You'll see the
if Dion can get
transfers.
Colorado on board, like if Colorado can really do something this year, that might be the first opportunity we see of a lower level team that.
So that's another conversation I want to have.
Well, like, of course, Alabama's can afford to pay a lot of players, and I think in general, even small schools can pay one or two players. And Landon's jumping on. Oh, there you go. Can pay one or two players. But in football, that doesn't really move the needle that much because you had Dion bring over a lot of talent. It did move it a little, like I said, but it may take a while to compete, but you put, a player that's being recruited by Kansas and Kentucky and North Carolina, you put him, like, let's just say, like, let's just use Grand Canyon as an example, because that's a big drop. But they say, hey, we're going to pay you how much ever $1 million, which it may or may not even out, because Duke can just say, hey, we'll pay you $5 million. Who cares? There is that aspect of where it's not necessarily going to even out as much as you think it will, because this big schools can still pay the big money. But if he's like, dude, you'll be the star, you'll be the best player Grand Canyon's ever seen, you're going to, be a legend here, he could move the needle in Grand Canyon. He's going to increase wins there. What's going on, Landon?
What's up?
You always wear that hat. To me, it looks like a Marlboro red hat.
Honestly, I was thinking the same thing. It was giving me like those old school, like 80s, 90s F1 vibes.
I can't remember what it is, but it's definitely not. But I just know that. That's
when was it? Like... When was it they told F1 they couldn't use Marlboro anymore as a?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when NASCAR. It was like the Winston Cup Series.
Yeah.
I think they were like giving away cigarettes as giveaways when you went to NASCAR.
Man, actually, I remember going to TMS right out here, and honestly, if you've never gone out to a Texas Motor Speedway for a race event or whatever, for a race weekend, like, totally get out there and check it out. Even if you don't have tickets, like, go into the actual race, there's enough stuff on the outside to do and check out and everything. It's always a good time. But yeah, I remember like hanging out before the race and everything and getting like so many logs of like dip
and
everything, and all you had to do was like sign up for like a little mailing list thing or something. And I signed up so many friends for nonsense. Like, oh yeah, totally, here's my name and address, totally me. And just take whatever swag they were giving out.
It is a ton of fun. A buddy of mine and I
got so many hats and shirts and
I know, a buddy of mine and I used to have an infield spot for a lot of years. And that's where the real party's at, in the infield.
Yeah. See, I never got to check out a race from an infield spot, but literally every time I was at a race, I'm like, that's got to be the place. Like, that's got to be the spot.
Like, it's really easy though. When you're right, when you go to NASCAR, even if you're not a huge NASCAR fan, it's really easy to get into it. When you start hearing those cars roaring,
there's that block.
You really get into it. Yeah, one time on the infield, we got some passes and got to go into the pits. Man, that's a different world, getting to go into the pit section.
Oh yeah, I bet. No, see, I was talking about this just a little earlier. I don't know if you've seen it, but I was telling Ashton he should check it out. On Netflix is the F1 Drive to Survive.
Oh yeah,
if you haven't seen it, it's so good, man. Because it's such a like behind the scenes story, and it actually has more to do with not just the drivers, but with like the actual like in the garage teams and some of the stuff that they even deal with behind the scenes of the garage and everything too. Totally worth watching. And I'm not like a huge F1 fan or anything, but like I check up on the races and see what's happening now a little bit more than I used to.
Yeah.
And, seeing like the new season of Drive to Survive drop, is always a good time.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. There's another one on there that's it's like a NASCAR version.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I mean, I'm sure if you get on there, you would find it. Not as good as the F1, but it was still good. It was still worth watching, especially as a guy that, again, is not like a huge like race fan and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm from Michigan. I come from cars. You know what I mean? Like,
almost
weird that I'm not into NASCAR more. Like, I got family and stuff that's really into it, and I've always been like, let's play some football. Like, let's go knock some people around. What's up? The middle ground we have is hockey. That's our thing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to be really into football from Detroit, from Michigan.
Right? You're just a glutton for punishment, really, is what it is.
Well,
but man, I tell you what, people in Detroit and like around the like, in all over Michigan are like, they are diehard Lion fans.
Yeah.
They like live and die with that team, man. It's crazy. Everybody's got like all kinds of Lion swag all over their cars and stuff. It's not weird to see like super fan style things happening on people's houses, or There's this one guy in my cousin's area that's got like a Winnebago that's like all decked out in like the Lions blue with like the
Yeah.
logo and everything on it. So I mean they go big for the tailgates and everything out there, and those guys like love their teams. Can't count me out. Bracket busted. What was your team?
Yeah, Wisconsin maybe.
I'm guessing it was Wisconsin. Yeah.
I forgot to do my
Yeah.
bracket. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I was picking all underdogs.
You know, I saw that. I think it was yesterday when I was looking, because I also happened to notice that that Ross didn't actually pick his champion. He did the whole bracket, and then he didn't pick his winner for the final and put in the score. So missed it by that much, I feel like. But yeah, I saw.
Yeah, that'll make it.
Landon and Tony. Were you the other one that
I
also
didn't.
happened?
Yeah, I didn't get my
miss
peak
it?
one done. No, I didn't get my peak one bracket done.
I forgot about it.
TCU
'cause
and
whenever you sent it
Wisconsin
to me,
going
they
far.
didn't have the,
That's rough, bud.
Come on, don't count them out yet. Well, your name is can't count me out, and you're counting TCU out. I mean, yeah, I mean it's getting ugly, but there's still plenty of time.
TCU's doing bad enough, and I've had enough whiskey that this tarp's about to come off, boys.
Yeah,
His team's changing.
I would not suggest Duke.
He's getting James Madison.
No, it's fine. I'll switch over to Texas, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Let's all get our
fine.
Grand Canyon.
Everything's fine.
flag.
It's all fine.
Well, you can just
The
switch to
girls-
Grand Canyon, right? They're purple, aren't they?
yeah.
And
Do
do
it, there you go.
GCU.
Yeah.
You just gotta duct tape over the T and put a G.
Right,
What are
yeah,
they?
just put
What's their
the-
mascot?
A
You
canyon.
know what it is, Landon?
A canyon. The Grand
I don't
Canyon
know.
Canyons.
I'm not,
was-
I'm not
I
gonna
was
lie.
looking at
I really
the,
dig the. I'll wear
the
like just my
women's A&M
purple
Nebraska game.
TCU shirt, and I'll crudely put like some duct tape
Yeah.
over the.
Grand Canyon. Does it?
like,
Maybe
see
it shows
you.
on you.
Let's go.
Oh, they're
Hold on,
like
it'll-
the antelopes or something.
Grand Canyon. I'll click on YouTube. They are. It doesn't say.
Rough day for the Texas teams, though, huh? I mean, well, A&M came out on top.
Yeah.
Baylor, also still going,
Yeah.
but
Texas
TCU
Tech
and Texas
lost.
Yeah, Texas Tech also. Yeah.
Texas won.
Did you find out what the GC is? The antelope?
Antelopes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Baylor won
Yeah,
by
you're
a
right.
lot.
Texas win.
That's
They
weird.
beat Colorado
Colgate.
State.
YouTube TV is telling me all the other mascots, just not Grand Canyons. That's weird.
Do you think their mascots the Grand Canyon?
It's the antelopes. That's what Landon said. The canyon. Where is? I mean,
That makes more sense to me than
an antelope. I don't even know
Yeah.
where Grand Canyon is.
It's
Grand
like-
Canyon University, because I mean that's over multiple states. That could be anywhere.
maybe it's in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It's a big
They
canyon.
play in the
They
same
just-
district as Tarleton.
Yeah, that's right. The same conference. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
And
they're actually an
UCLA.
up and coming Division One school. I mean, they're really becoming more popular. I know baseball. They
They went
had
17
big.
3 in conference play.
A couple of years ago, I thought they were like an online school because they promote so much. They do a lot of online classes.
Oh yeah.
And then I saw them, I think it was last year in the tournament. That's another one I was talking about, a repeat, because they were in the tournament last year. I want to say they played TCU, but I saw them in the tournament and I was like, Grand Canyon University is a
ain't
real
it.
school. I thought they were like DeVry University or something. It's
Yeah.
an online school.
Like an online. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Kaplan. I went to Kaplan.
Right.
Grambling lost to Purdue.
Yeah.
They were doing pretty good.
I'm
I kind of thought that
surprised.
they'd make it, but then they pulled.
I mean,
Purdue.
and that final score, 78-50, doesn't look as bad as some.
They just need Purdue.
Alabama 109-9. Well, I guess that's about the same.
I mean, UConn beat
Houston won.
Stetson 91-52.
Houston won by 40.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll be
that
honest, I've
Houston
never
has to
heard
be
of
the biggest
Stetson
win.
before. I've never heard of Stetson. You could ask me any question, I
Yale
would not
beat
be able to tell
Auburn.
you.
It's a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a crazy game. That's
Yale
what we
beat
were
Auburn
watching
earlier.
then, yeah.
I missed
All the
a
way
lot
down to the
during
last second.
our game.
Honestly, with kind of how mellow yesterday was, I don't feel like I was expecting all the drama today.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of blindsided me a little bit. Like I almost feel like I got like gobsmacked a little bit, I was just not expecting, especially
I felt
like
that a little bit,
Oakland
but my
over
Final Four is still
Kentucky.
there.
I think that's what some of these top 10 teams are thinking too. Like, what the hell just happened? We just got smacked
Yeah.
in the mouth.
Yeah, like man, just some really crazy upsets today. I mean, I don't feel like there was necessarily like any unexpected upsets yesterday, but today, oh.
I mean, I don't know. Kentucky's always played good, but they always lose it in March.
Kentucky was a big upset.
Yeah, they are 1-3 in their last 4 tournament games. 3 out of the last 4 tournaments they've lost in the first round. So Kentucky's on the downfall right now.
It feels like so many teams are on the downfall right now.
We look at Texas because I know their coach just took over like the middle of last year after Chris Beard was let go. That coach, who's been coaching for not even a full year last year and then 1 tournament game, has 4 tournament wins. The Longhorns with who are that? Shaka Smart, Chris Beard, and what's his name? Who's the Texas coach for so long? He went to Tennessee. I can't remember his name, but anyway, since 2009, those 3 coaches have 4 tournament wins for Texas. Up until last year, and so far this year, they have 4 tournament wins. Because Texas would make it every year, but it seemed like they were always losing in the first round.
That does feel like it's like Texas MO to kind of
Rick Barnes.
First round.
Yeah, Rick Barnes, Chris Beard, and Shaka Smart have 4 tournament wins for Texas.
Not enough. It's not enough.
Well, now they have 4. They had 3 last year and 1 this year. So far 1. See if they can get more.
The Aggies just hired the Nebraska AD.
Yeah.
Like 5 days ago.
I did not see that. I'm sure we'll start to see a lot of that shifting.
Is that because of the Jimbo Fisher situation?
Well, they lost their AD. Left after Jimbo.
Yeah.
Which is not a big loss.
I'm not mad about it.
Well, you said that so slowly. Like I made a joke about it, and you said we lost him. I'm like, oh, don't tell me he died, and I just made that joke. You said we just lost him, and so awkwardly, I'm like, and
where'd he go?
I should have played that better.
Yeah, I know. I'm used to being able to edit that shit out. I'm like, we're live. I can't do that now. Really? Did I bully you into changing your hat, Landon?
No, it's tied on my head. I can't wear it for too long.
I was waiting to see if somebody was going to call it out or whatever, because I was like,
I was gonna say it wasn't bad. I would just say it looked like a marble. Like I don't know.
I get headaches after games all the time, so I can't.
Matching the vibes better.
Oh man. Is TCU not doing so well now? They're just letting it get away from them.
Yeah.
Which isn't, it's not an upset at all because Utah State's a higher
Yeah,
seed.
I mean, an 8-9, it's always hard to say that 9 upsets 8 when they're ranked so close, But
yeah, and that's almost like a judgment call. We were talking about how hard it is for the committee to see.
No, honestly, that's what I was about to say here too, though. But it was like, honestly, but I feel like you could say this is an upset because they're beating them by so much.
Yeah, I mean, you're upset about it.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I like
TCU.
I like TCU.
I'm always going to root for the Texas teams, though.
Yeah,
regardless.
I like TCU.
Right? I mean, same.
I can be a TCU fan again because Texas is leaving the Big 12, so they're not a rival, really. I mean, I know TCU and looks
right.
At it
that
as a rival,
even
but
changes it up a little bit now.
Yeah, but like I said, I think on Wednesday is like I grew up. TCU was in the conference. It was in Conference USA in the Mountain West. I never thought. I mean, they would occasionally play Texas, but they weren't like conference rivals.
It's easy being in the Fort Worth area. It's so easy to go to a game. We go to a lot of the basketball games and taking my daughter to the women's basketball games just because it's so accessible.
Yeah, I went to a press conference after the season last year for TCU. I don't think I want to go to this one because didn't they win a game last year? I think they made it to the second round.
To be honest, the team to look after, I mean, besides their football team, I'm expecting kind of big things out of their baseball team this year.
Yeah.
They've been doing pretty well the last couple of seasons. So actually, I even just saw that apparently I missed the whole like dog day at the TCU ballpark.
Oh yeah, that was the other day.
I was like, oh man, I wish I would have. I didn't even realize I would have totally went.
I went when they were playing like their first series, I think. It was like one of their first or second series to one of the baseball games. They were pretty good.
Man, I was terrible about going to games when I was actually like at TCU taking classes and stuff. I was usually just so lazy about it. I'd rather go like sit in a bar and watch the game on TV than. But I mean, I went to a couple of basketball games, a couple of baseball games, more football games than anything. But
here it is. Here's the comeback. They scored a
TCU's
basket.
got
They
a
got
killer
us
rifle team. If you didn't know, that one always makes me laugh a little. Been like national champs for like 5 years.
My friend's an AD over the rifle team, or his dad is.
Oh, nice.
The rifle team, football, and basketball, I think.
Yeah, because that's why he wasn't at the baseball game tonight.
Yeah.
Because they're at the game.
I mean, don't sleep on that rifle team. Apparently they're killer.
We get they get free tickets to everything. So whenever we want to go to TCU games, just free tickets to whatever we want.
Here we go. 4-0
run.
run.
To that TCU. I had to go over to the Grand Canyon, man. It's a tight game there.
Well, I can't watch anything because we have it pulled up on the TV and nobody's in the living room. So
why not?
Y'all have YouTube TV. Pull it up on your computer.
No, that's why I can't. It's because it's connected
and it's
to
almost a steal.
to the TV.
Oh. On a 4-0 run now. Yeah, that Grand Canyon game is a lot closer.
Oh, never mind. I got it.
Well, turn it on. I mean, I just turned it on too.
Here we go.
It sucks because there's
I
actually
mean, honestly, like
good NBA games on
I
today
obviously
too.
said this to Ashton before y'all got on, but I was like, with these kind of being like the last games of the night, TCU game will probably end, and then the other game or two will probably also end shortly after. So if you want to hang out and see how those go and close it out that way, like more entertaining than watching just this TCU game, because this is pretty damn disappointing.
Don't count it out. There, look, it's a 12-point game. Wow, no, they missed a free throw. 13-point game. They're on a 5-0 run, man.
I've definitely seen stranger things happen in sport, but honestly, this is I'm not a huge maths guy. I'm not great at the maths, but I've always kind of wondered, like statistically and stuff, right?
You just try to.
I wonder what the different numbers are as far as like point differential and like time remaining in a basketball game, and like what the statistics say your odds are of like making the comeback to win.
Look, analytics. Yeah, analytics doesn't think momentum's a real thing, and after that Utah State player just tried to posterize dunk him. He just got hit in the face. I think TCU just got riled up a little bit. I'm just saying.
You can definitely tell that Utah they're going for it all now. They're playing tougher. They're like just like that. I mean, normally you wouldn't just attack the basket in that situation. They're just going for it all, trying to keep that momentum they have and playing with a lead.
Yeah. Probably should have brought it back and ran down the clock a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and it feels like the play to make right now because TCU's not being nearly as aggressive as I think they need to be.
Yeah.
And it's like because they're playing so reserved, I guess, like it's easier for you to like play aggressive and not be as punished for it, like
Yeah.
mm. But I mean, I don't know what the numbers are and everything, but I assume, variable statistics here. With every second the clock ticks down, TCU's chances get, lower and lower. So I mean, it feels like they got to make something
Yeah,
happen.
for sure.
That's a start. But it's got to be now, like there's no like like let's get our rhythm going.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you had to make some stops.
Yeah, you want to play aggressive, but then also you're in the bonus, so
right.
It's kind of that. It's a double-edged sword. How aggressive do you really want to get and put them at the line?
Missed him. Never mind. Oh,
Nothing there.
that's bad.
Man, these refs really like to let these guys play.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of body contact there before the shot was off.
That was a good block, though.
So is the Grand Canyon game the only other game going on right
That's
now?
all I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 37-34.
Is it? I thought there were 2 games.
Well, one just ended. It was that Houston one was on.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would be.
The Houston one ended. That one ended a lot quicker because it was a 40-point game.
Man,
Right.
Grand Canyon's playing tough.
Yeah, it's a close game.
Is that your new favorite school, Tony? Grand Canyon?
Yeah, it looks like we
Huh?
just got the 2.
Is that your new favorite school now?
Yeah.
Your backup school?
I'm going to ride their coattail.
Well, they're going
I'm
to
glad you
play.
said Coattail.
I think they play Alabama next, and then if they win, they'd be like North Carolina or Michigan State. I guess could pull that off.
They've got a lot of momentum. It's still a close game, but man, it just almost feels like they're getting ready to run away with this.
Yeah, the other game too was James Madison, Wisconsin, but that ended quite a while ago.
That one really hurt my bracket.
Grand Canyon might catch up with this game. This one's going pretty slow reviewing it all. That's a questionable call, I think.
Man,
TCU
for
player
real.
was
I feel like
fouled.
all day I've been.
I get he kind of like grabbed his arm when he was coming to the ground, but I feel like the TCU player was fouled first, but I don't know.
I mean, if
I'm not
watching the
that sure.
games all day and everything, I thought the refs were being like pretty lenient, like letting them play and everything. And to be
Yeah.
honest, like Tony, I think you kind of said it the best. It was like, like I think these refs are just almost like trying their best not to like inject themselves too much into the result of the game and everything. And
Well-
I can respect that and everything, but there's a difference between like not interfering too much with how the outcome of the game results and
Wow.
like just blatantly not calling fouls
Yeah.
and whatever to like let them play. And that just doesn't feel like good basketball, I guess,
Yeah.
We saw it in the Samford game, the block that they had that they called a foul,
Yeah.
and it was clean and off the backboard. So I think it's kind of a mix of both right now. That
Yeah, now that you say it, was it that Sanford game? Because I feel like I
Yeah.
kept saying it was the FAU Northwestern
Yeah, it was the Sanford game, and I think
game.
that if they would have got that block, they would have been a 1-point game or a 2-point game
Oh,
with the
come
ball.
on.
Yeah.
This should be about a 10-point game now, but they keep.
But right, they
I
just
think
can't.
they're too
drop
much in a
these
hurry. I think like just relax and place it. They're just going down there and it's like 3-on-1 under the basket. They just are putting up the. I mean, they seem like high percentage shots because they're closer in, but they don't.
Oh wow,
They don't seem like good shots. But I
dude,
don't know.
Grand Canyon 2 back-to-back blocks.
Grand Canyon
I was
game
gonna.
is
I was gonna say that earlier. It was a big block. TCU got a big block, and
That a big
That's
3
why I
back.
don't-
Grand Canyon's pulling away with this one now. They're up by 10.
10-point game.
yeah,
Wow.
they're only about 10 minutes
And
behind
I
this
mean,
one. This one
is
might slow.
March. Like
Yeah,
Oh,
another big block. Wow.
St. Mary's is
I
that's
hate
a
losing, but I do love me some upsets. So
St. Mary's is like the Big West right there, like the rival Gonzaga. Am I right? I want to say
St.
they're in
Mary's,
that.
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
But like I
Trying to
said
place it
on
like a
sports
Washington
page, I
area.
don't know. Obviously, Tony, Landon, kind of my first time really hanging out and interacting with you guys, but I don't necessarily know that any of us are like huge college basketball guys. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't think that changes. The love for March Madness. I mean,
I think that's
yeah.
when
I was gonna say,
everybody
I don't
kind of
think I
gets
watched
into it,
basketball
right?
until March Madness.
no,
Yeah.
honestly, I said something kind of similar on sports page on Wednesday because I was like, I even mentioned how like I don't necessarily pay a whole lot of attention to like the NBA in the regular season or the NHL in the regular season,
Yeah,
but playoffs coming up next month, and you better believe I will be watching those
for sure. Yeah,
like I was watching all year. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, these teams are great. Like,
yeah,
but I mean, I just the level of competition too, though. Like when you're talking about playoffs is kind of the same way I mentioned the way I like to watch the Olympics. We're talking about watching like the best people in the world
yeah.
compete at what they're best at.
Well, there's
And
a different energy when it's playoff season.
yeah,
When every
well,
game
plus,
counts.
like that whole do or die kind of feel to a lot of the games. The caliber of players and their abilities and everything, especially both like individually and as a team.
When at that
Like
point,
it
especially
just
like the
it's the
NBA's
pinnacle,
Yeah, the NBA's cool because it's such a chess match about matchups and minutes, and when you get into the
Yeah.
playoffs, it matters. All those matchups matter. When you're just playing a regular season game, you'll just sit a guy just to rest them, but in the playoffs, that just doesn't happen.
No, I totally agree with that too, right? Because one of the things I love about like pretty much what you just said, like the chess aspect of
Mhm.
NBA is like when do you like pull Luca and like let him get some rest because you're gonna need him in like that final 5 or 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, and you need him to be like prime for it,
Yeah,
or like do you leave him in to help you catch up more now, and what like those chess moves of like how to play your team and your players and
yeah,
keep your lead or whatever it is. Like I love that stuff. It's honestly it's the same kind of reason that I love baseball so much. A lot of people think baseball is very slow and very boring and everything, but I'm like, yeah, but if you really like just break it down to what it is, baseball is just this constant battle of these one-on-one battles of I'm better than you.
yeah.
Right? Every pitch is a pitcher like, I'm better than you. You can't hit this.
Yeah.
That's what he throws. And a batter being like, no, I'm better than you. I'm going to smack the shit out of this ball.
Yeah.
And
how
then when he
calculated-
does hit the ball, it's wherever he hit it, that fielder being like, I'm better than you. I'm going to get this and get you out. Like it's
Well, and
just
how-
this constant shifting one-on-one battle, and they're instantaneous. They're very fast, quick battles,
Yeah.
But like
Well, and
that's
it's
what
so
I
much
love about it.
especially at the major league level. I mean, those guys almost know, hitters they almost know what pitches you would throw in certain situations, in certain counts, and certain
Right. Like when you do your
that's
homework and
the
stuff, you're
chess
like,
matches.
oh,
You have to outwit someone. Yeah.
yeah, right. You're like, oh, 2-1, fastball coming. Like that's what this fool does.
Or
You
knowing
know?
what a hitter likes, knowing what a hitter hits in certain counts. Or
Yeah. No, see, and I mean that's also the part of sports that I just love in general too, right? Because football does the same thing.
yeah.
One of my favorite like mic'd up kind of videos or whatever is Cam Newton getting ready. I think it might have even been preseason or something. But he's getting ready and they're getting ready to like run a play and he's under center. He calls out the mic and then he hears that guy like calling audible or whatever. And you hear Cam Newton like, oh yeah, you watch film? Me too.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah.
And he like takes the snap and they run their play. And I'm like, I love that just because like that's two chess players right there.
I think that
like,
was a regular season game against the Panthers.
yeah. So you know what I'm talking about, but like,
Yeah,
like
it was.
I love that
it was
because I
Luke
think that's
Kuechly.
amazing because that's literally like two chess players like in the match in the moment, like
Yeah.
oh yeah, me too. Like I know what you're thinking. Like yep,
And that's what I like so much
I
about
love that stuff.
baseball, the major leagues. The pitch clock is something I still haven't grown to love because you take a little bit of
We
that
were just
away.
talking about this.
It speeds it up too much, and you don't have that time. The stepping off, calling time. Getting somebody out of their rhythm. Pitchers are so rhythmatic that they need to be in a certain rhythm to get the ball, get back on the rubber, and go. And being able to call time, messing that up. Well, they've taken that aspect away from it and only be able to throw to the bag a certain amount of times, or step off. It changes the game so much in that aspect that
For
I'm
sure.
having a
Tony,
hard
you're my
time
kind of
growing.
guy. I almost said like the same kind of thing. Me and Ashton were actually talking about this just a little while ago. And I mentioned like I can totally understand like both sides here because I can understand how like before the pitch clock, it was kind of the pitcher's job to dictate the speed and the tempo of the
Mhm.
game. And that was kind of part of a team's strategy was kind of how a pitcher likes to get that rhythm going and whatever. And it was, up to them to even like interrupt like a batter's rhythm and
Yeah.
to, change it up and whatever. So like I can totally understand like not liking the pitch count in that sense. But like I also understand that like personally some of my favorite like rhythm pitchers were the guys that like pitch fast,
Mhm.
like keep you honest, they keep you ready, and they're like, here's the next one, here's the next one, versus like the guy who like waits
Walks around
45
the
to 60
mound every
seconds.
pitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't know, like it feels like you're giving everybody a bit of an extra break there, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't feel like they necessarily sped those slower guys up too much. It was just enough to kind of be like, all right, like let's keep it going a little bit.
Yeah.
But I totally think the same thing you're saying. Like keeping that tempo and that rhythm that was the whole part of like a pitcher's game. A big part
Mhm.
of their game was how they kind of played with batters and how they maybe even speed up their rhythm. Normally their rhythm's a little slower, but they're like this time they're like, all right, like let's go, or even to like make you wait just a little longer on their hold just before their delivery,
Yeah.
like that extra 2 or 3 seconds, the anticipation and everything. So I mean, I totally get both sides. I understand wanting to like speed up the game a little bit, but there is going to be like that kind of missing aspect of a pitcher being able to like just twist the gears a little bit, I guess, on
Mhm.
a batter who's like ready and waiting for a pitch, and then he just waits an extra 1, 2, 3, and it's like, oh, give it to me. So I mean, I see both sides, but
It was
I
definitely
can't
a
hate him.
play.
I can't hate him for wanting to speed up a game after they had like an almost 6-hour baseball game. You know what I mean? It's like, I
Yeah.
get it.
That gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's what people don't want to watch. People don't want to watch a lot of standing around. People don't want to watch a lot of, just anticipation building and whatever.
A lot of timeouts being called for a 16-point game with a minute left, but
That one I don't understand.
They're
either. I
also
was
like
about to say the
playing
same thing.
street ball with rebounds.
Yeah.
Quite the strategy here to. If the game was closer, it's just a little late to be calling these timeouts now.
Yeah.
Should have used these timeouts to like break up their rhythm or something,
Yeah. I'm just saying they have
or
a
even to
lot.
help you try to establish some rhythm. I don't know.
Yeah, they have a lot of timeouts to keep
Man.
me using them.
St. Mary's is making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I think the Grand Canyon game's over.
I mean, with still 11 minutes to go, it really does seem like it. I mean, St. Mary's doesn't know what to do. They can't figure it out.
15-point game with 11 minutes, but they're not really doing anything.
Yeah. You had TCU losing to Purdue on your bracket, right, Dan?
It did.
Okay, so other than your pride, you're really just losing one.
I mean,
point.
it was also because I had seen. I guess the statistics say if number 9 does win the first round, which they're usually the favorite for, they've only got about a 9% chance to win the second round. But I mean, that makes sense. You figure in the second round, they're either going to end up playing like number 16 or number 1. So,
Yeah.
I wonder how our degenerate listeners are doing.
Who did Purdue play?
Who's losing a lot of money?
My gosh, there's too many teams in my head right now. Purdue, they played. Who did Purdue play?
I know, right? I just took my bracket off.
Was it-
because I was like mad at it.
Was it Colgan or
Colgate? No, it wasn't Colgate. It was Let me just go down here and show me all these old games. Purdue.
Oh,
Purdue.
Grambling.
Grambling.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
16. Yeah, Grambling.
So UConn plays Northwestern. Yale plays San Diego State. How did BYU lost to a team? I don't know how to pronounce their name. Didn't even.
I think it's called Duquesne.
Duquesne. Yeah.
They play Illinois.
Yeah. TCU
Washington State
is officially over.
Iowa
They
State.
lost.
So Grand Canyon will play Alabama. Texas is playing Tennessee.
Jesus Christ. All right. Give me a second. I'll be right back.
He's got to go take a couple of shots because TCU lost. I assume that's what we're doing here. Gary Sneed, I lost $20 when Texas won.
We have a South Texas matchup in the Southern bracket.
Yeah.
Houston and A&M.
What's the details on that? Is it straight up bet that Texas is going to lose, or do they? I mean, because Texas won by quite a bit, so maybe they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd pick Colorado State over Texas in any bet, to be honest with you.
Maybe he thought Colorado State would have covered. I don't know what the spread was. I know there was a period there when Colorado State went like 16 minutes or something and scored 3 points. It was ridiculous. They didn't score the last 12 minutes of the first half or something like that. And they went and then they scored a 3 like the first 5 minutes. Maybe Dan can help me with that one since he's a Texas fan too.
Oh, here we go.
It was yeah, see?
Just Texas all along.
The perfect segue because we're talking about Texas because Gary Sneed said he lost $20. And we were trying to get more details on that when Texas won. But Colorado State went like 15 or 16 minutes and scored like 3 points, right? There was like a period of that. I remember they scored only 11 points in the first half.
Actually, I can look at that because I'm on the
it was a ridiculous amount of time. They went like, I think it was like 8 or 9 minutes alone without scoring.
How did y'all?
I mean-
y'all went Texas went 1 for 14 from the 3-point line.
It was bad
was a
because
rough game.
when I'm referencing this long period, they made Colorado State made 1 3, and they said that was the first 3-pointer that was made in the game because both teams started out like 0-9.
19 turnovers, 12 turnovers.
Yeah, it was not a pretty game by any means.
That's why I don't have much confidence. Much confidence that they'll be able to take down Tennessee, but who knows? Tennessee, I think they're missing somebody. I think they're hurt, right? Or did I make that up?
I'm not
Uh-oh.
sure. Did they get hurt today? I mean,
No. I think they just been. I know Kansas was missing a
I
couple
know
of guys.
Kansas was missing a guy.
One team had like
somewhere too, but-
2 people on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I guess commercial's over. I can go back to.
Tennessee shot 50% from the field.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, Texas isn't going to be able to go.
With 15 turnovers.
What did they go? 1 for 9 for 3-point?
Texas?
Yeah, where did you say they went to?
Let me go back and look at it.
It was like 1 for 13.
Yeah, they can't do that.
1
Yeah,
for 14 on 3-pointers.
If Tennessee's shooting 50%, yeah, you can't do that. Well, at least we have this good game. 3-point.
Well, that was from they shot 45% from 3.
No, this isn't up to date, is it? They have 15. No, I'm just behind. This last time I saw it. Catch back up.
Grand Canyon's up by 13.
Okay. Yeah, I clicked on
Yeah,
it.
I just clicked that one over too.
It went back to the last time I watched the game. I was about to say, I was like, yeah, there's a lot more time or a lot less time here.
Well, my bracket would have been busted a long time ago. Because I wasn't picking a single team that was not an underdog.
Here we go, Jordan.
Oh yeah, you got one of those. One of those strategies.
Yeah, I had a few.
I thought
underdog
Grambling was
picks,
going to win it
but-
all, to be honest with you.
You-
I wanted the 16 seed.
Hey, I want Tony can attest to this. We won a
I mean,
few
I would've
national
liked the 16
championships with
seed.
Grambling State on NCAA like 02 or something.
Yeah.
College football. We pick Grambling State and take and win a national championship in football.
Honestly, that's one of those bets I always want to make if I ever
We
was
gotta-
like have the money. And it's like just always pick the 4.
If they give you the right
odds, like
odds,
$100,
yeah.
$1,000 on them. Because if they win, that payout.
Yeah. Depends what odds they give you. You never know.
Oh, right, for sure. And I need Oklahoma to legalize sports betting.
Texas might do it soon. The
I
next
mean-
5 years will probably be done.
I would think Oklahoma does it first, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can just go to Shreveport.
Wow.
Louisiana does it. Just go to that Bally's Casino in Shreveport.
you do sports betting out there?
I think they do, don't they?
Well, see, I was confused because when I just went to New Orleans, I couldn't do any sports betting on like sleeper and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, really?
But I think I could have gone to the casino.
You can do that here
just
on
bet.
Sleeper. I play
Yeah.
parlays on Sleeper all the time. Landon, what do you mean?
After-
Yeah, you should know.
I mean,
Ask the Alabama's baseball coach where you can go bet.
or
Especially on your
Or-
Shohei Ohtani.
Otani's translator.
Otani's translator. Or
Well, apparently
I
they're
don't know.
investigating
I
him
think
too
it's
now.
Otani.
There's no way he's not.
They're not
involved.
really investigating him. There's no way MLB wants to open that. That's like, go through your girlfriend's phone too and see find something.
Yeah, right.
Not you specifically. I'm just saying. They're gonna investigate him, and they're like, "Oh, we found nothing." I'm not saying Otani straight up gambling, and and his translator's
No,
taking
I
a
totally
fall.
understand
But
what you're saying. and
there's
you're
something
probably
there.
right.
There's something there, but I don't
Like,
think
there's no way he
Manfred.
didn't know.
I don't think Manfred has the balls to suspend him. So he's
I
like,
don't
we
think
can't.
Manfred knows how to run an investigation.
Oh, this is a fake investigation for sure. They're going to be like,
I mean,
they're going to
I mean,
find
but how-
something on purpose to be like, oh yeah, he did know. Okay, you're suspended 5 games or some crap, whatever. They're just going to come up with something like, okay,
yeah,
they use
maybe.
they use his bank account, but yeah, his translator's guilty. I don't know all the deals, but it just seems so sudden, like they changed stances. It was like Otani was helping his friend out paying off his debt, and then all of a sudden he gets let go.
That's
And you're
honestly
like,
what I was going to say,
something's
right?
up.
I almost believe everything you're saying, right? They're going to like open this investigation into Otani. Like they just kind of released today that like, oh, like we'll investigate him, whatever. And it's mostly because like the people demand it kind of thing, but like they won't find anything. But I think it's really funny the way that they ended up like layering and telling the story where they're like, oh, Otani's translator, who's also a very good friend of his, has a lot of gambling debt. And Otani wanted to like help him with all that gambling debt, right? So it like already opens the door for the fact that like maybe Otani did just give him the money to like pay off his previous gambling debts, and then this fool took this money and went and did more gambling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To like try and like absolve Otani of any real wrongdoing. And it's like, bro, I don't know, man. It feels like it's got a lot of Pete Rose-esque feels to it. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it could be one of those things where like Otani and his translator were just like betting on sports, not even necessarily baseball, not even necessarily on like Angels games or anything, you know, but like betting on sports. And it's always like a big no-no for pro athletes, especially
Yeah.
active pro athletes.
So I don't know what the rule is on that, but I know in the NFL you can bet on other sports. You can't bet on football at all.
Right.
You can't bet on team property either.
Yeah.
You can
I
bet
think
on
that's
any
how
other
most sports are. Is
thing.
like you can't bet on like the league you're in
Yeah.
type thing. But you can bet on other stuff. But it's still like widely frowned upon.
Because
Just
that's what
because of like your
Calvin Ridley,
position.
he bet on like a completely different. It wasn't even his team that he bet on.
What's that with like Pete Rose?
Calvin Ridley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, usually that's how it always is, right? Because like Pete
Yeah.
Rose did the same thing. He was like he never bet against his team or anything like that.
Pete Rose
and he
was
never
betting
bet
on
any
his team to
games that,
win.
like he was actually in. But like it's still just like frowned upon, I guess. Because honestly, it's one of those things.
They
I
have
think is funny
inside
too.
knowledge. That's more of it is just not necessarily fixing the game because they're betting against their team or whatever. But even Calvin Ridley, I'm sure, had some sort of inside knowledge that normal people wouldn't have because he is a
for
member
sure.
of
I
the
mean,
NFL, or he at least has access
I
to
mean,
get
even
that
just
knowledge.
having the game strategy of a team, not even necessarily both teams, but having one team's like particular game strategy gives you a little bit of
Here we
kind of
go.
enough
5-point
insight to
game.
make an educated.
It's 5-point game. St. Mary's coming back.
We went on a big
Plenty
Yeah,
of
I
time.
mean, yeah, that's the main thing is like Calvin Ridley knows people, and he could make just using him as an example, he could make a call and be like,
sure.
hey, I know what's his name is hurt. Is he going to play? Is he going to practice? I know you said game time decision, but they know, and he's like, yeah, no, he's not going to play. He's like, okay, starting running backs out. I'm going to bet the under on, yards before Vegas.
Right. Well, or even like knowing that like a team's gonna like double team this receiver,
yeah,
jam
exactly.
this
Like
side of the field
people want
or
to say
something
it's like
that,
a controversy or conspiracy theory that they're going to bet against their team and throw the game. But a lot of it is just to protect because I don't have inside knowledge of this, but that guy might, and that's why they're not allowed to bet on the NFL. They can bet on other sports.
But I mean,
I can make the argument Calvin Ridley probably has a better in MLB than I do too. So
I mean, honestly, I feel like ultimately though, like the argument I'm always going to end up making is like the same of that of like a fighter betting on themselves.
Yeah.
Never gonna hate necessarily on a fighter for like putting money down on themselves to go in and win a fight. However, the issue arises when they go and they put money on themselves to lose a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost hard to like draw the line on like what's an appropriate bet and what's not an appropriate bet for like a pro athlete
Yeah.
based on like their
Well,
level of involvement,
on the surface, that sounds suspicious, but that's the same way that when I do
My man's
parlays.
trying to cheat. Y'all hear this?
No, listen.
No,
On
I'm just
parlays,
kidding. Keep going.
where I've for sure 100% put that done like under on passing yards for Dak or something like that, where if he throws for 400 yards, great. But if he doesn't and they lose, I still win, Like maybe it's something like that where I'm going to go fight, but if I lose, it's not all bad because I did win some money. I'm not trying to lose, but I'd rather pick against my team. Either way, I win something, right? Because if you pick for your team, it's either double win or double lose. You can at least protect yourself. Not saying that's what they're doing, but they're
Right. Yeah.
there's something there, I think. But yeah, it always looks terrible if you bet against yourself, especially if you end up losing.
I feel like the MLB betting is one of the worst. I feel like baseball in general is one of the worst sports to bet on. It's probably the most
Go on,
unpredictable
show your work.
sport you can play.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I
are
think
you talking about
you-
like if you're just betting on games straight up, or
Like if you're like
I
yeah, or
think
like
you need to understand it a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think you can look out with other sports more often, but baseball does get, a little more complicated where if you're not following it at all, I feel like it'd be harder just to go out depending on the bet and like just play some parlays.
you really have to know the matchups
Yeah.
a lot more than if you were
'Cause-
betting on like football.
Yeah, because they play, they could play 3 games in a series, all different pitching matchups, and you pay attention to how pitchers pitch against righties or lefties, or vice versa, how hitters hit against righties or lefties, or this style of
Yeah.
if a slider or curveball is their main pitch, how does this batter face stuff like that. That's you can't just go in like, oh yeah, Bryce Harper's hitting 350. I'm betting the over that he gets a hit and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
right.
Without really understanding.
Well, it's like the World
the
Series.
matchup.
Like Evan Carter comes in, you're probably not going to bet that this dude's going to go hit 400 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, right? Just like
Or
new
Wyatt
guy
Langford.
Yeah, Wyatt Langford made
Coming
the,
off-
Wyatt
opening day
Langford
who
play.
even
and
was
Evan,
just coming off a bit of a slump,
are Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter the top 2 odds to win Rookie of the Year?
For the AL, yeah.
Or yeah, for AL, yeah.
Man,
I saw
That's got to be.
honestly, with
just saw
everything
the
I've been
stats,
seeing
too.
and hearing about Wyatt Langford so far, I feel like at this point, I almost feel like I'd be surprised if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year. He's
Well, it was
batting
like Josh Young was
389 right
favored,
now
but Josh Young
through
was
spring ball?
favored, but he got hurt and just missed too much time down the stretch. Because I feel Josh Young would have
Yeah.
won it easily.
Did everyone
last
hear
year.
that? Does everyone understand what I just said? Wyatt Langford's batting 389.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in spring training. And
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand it's spring training. That'll be adjusted once the major league
he has
season
7
starts.
RBIs and
That's
3
still
home runs.
wow.
Rugi always did good.
Say that again, Landon.
He has 7 RBIs and 3 home runs. Evan Carter's, they almost have identical stats too.
This kid's
Yeah.
gonna be so much fun to watch.
So
Evan Carter's been doing
day,
well too, but it's been overshadowed by Wyatt
Yeah.
Langford.
a potential opening day lineup could look like Simeon, Seager, Carter, Garcia, Jung, Langford, Heim, Justin Foscue, because what's his name?
Seager?
No,
No,
the first
Seager.
baseman's hurt.
Isn't Seager hurt though? Is he
No,
gonna be ready for opening day?
he should be back by opening day.
Okay.
Who's the first baseman?
It's a stash. What's his name?
I can
Damn it,
picture
I was
him. I
on
just
it.
can't think of the name.
Right? Yeah, we're all doing it.
What is his name? He hit the. I remember he hit a big home run against the Orioles.
Yeah,
know,
I did.
right?
Nathaniel Lowe.
Low, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Jesus.
He's
Nate
out
Lowe.
for opening day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Leody Taveras will be in
It's supposed to
center.
be a short
So what's
out, though.
what's Langford
Right.
gonna do? Is Langford a DH?
Langford's going to be the DH.
Okay.
And then Carter and Adolis are at the corners.
Because Langford's your future center fielder.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I mean, doesn't that just get you excited to think about how young this team is
Yes,
coming off of a World Series?
absolutely. And the way we were bringing back 80% of the team.
Yeah.
We brought in an even younger guy who's just as talented. Actually, we even just signed a pitcher yesterday.
Yeah,
From
from the
Reds.
Phillies. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the Phillies.
The Phillies. He's
yeah.
he's probably gonna be your fifth starter until some guys come back. But he can
So,
go in the bullpen later
really,
on. He's a
really
good bullpen.
excited for
Yeah.
the Rangers season coming up. This should be a lot of fun. And I mean, considering I feel like I don't know what else to call it other than like this blindsided World Series run the Rangers made on their fans last year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody expected us to start April like, oh, we're a World Series contender. I mean, I know me personally, I was like, this is probably going to be a rough one, guys.
I mean, even just to
The
sneak
goal
into
was
the playoffs.
just make the playoffs. Yeah,
Right. Exactly. You know, it was like, I don't know how the season's going to go. If we could sneak into the playoffs, that'd be amazing.
So
yeah, that'd be a win for the year.
And then, oh my God, we had an amazing first half of the season. Things got real rough and dicey there mid-August and into September. Then we cleaned it up just enough to get ourselves in the playoffs.
And then go on a road winning streak.
And then one of the greatest playoff runs I've seen in baseball, you know, like, I mean, at least in my time of watching baseball, just an incredible playoff run, especially against like the Astros.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody expected us to just blast the Astros the way we did, but man, that was a fun series as a Rangers fan because I hate the Astros, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always going to be bitter about the Astros since they were like the first ones to bring a World Series to Texas. And I really wanted the Rangers to be that one.
It was never like an actual rivalry though, because we never played them in the playoffs. It was always.
Well, and the Rangers were good in the 2010.
Before I could ever see
Astros were bad, then it kind of reversed around 2016.
Yeah, it was like before I could ever see the All Texas World Series, they moved the Astros to the American League. That was a real gut punch because I was super hopeful to see a Houston.
I like the series
Texas
that we played
World
him in.
Series.
Though.
That would have been awesome. I love every time
played out better.
Texas and the Astros play. I mean, because the rivalry's grown so much over the years and everything. I think the fact that the Astros even won the World Series helped build that considerably. So, I mean, everybody watches those games now. You know what I mean? It's always exciting, especially, you know, interstate. What's not to love about the rival we got going on between these
in-state rivalries are always the best rivalries.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, especially with Texas too. The state's so big.
Yeah. It's like a town rivalry in high school.
Yeah, it really is.
When you're just playing a team from your same town or the town across the street.
Like what you play tonight.
I don't know if I call that fun, but we can go for it.
We actually played Cleburne tonight.
So that is pretty much just cross town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it was
right
rowdy.
to me, actually. The high school's right up the road. I'm like a quarter mile away from like the Railroaders ballpark and the
Yeah.
high school?
Yeah, that's where we were at. We were at the high school.
Okay, yeah.
Loops
It's like nothing out
energy.
here, man. There's nothing out here. Couple of farms still holding on, but Cleburne, nothing. Oh, we got an airport. We got a little airport, I guess. But
Yeah.
got a Walmart. That's what you're
The Orioles. Y'all see the Orioles reassigned Jackson Holiday? So
No,
he's
I
back
didn't
in the
see that.
minors. They didn't bring him up.
That's a disappointment.
Yeah. I think the Rangers right now have like 2 top 10 prospects. With
Yeah, 'cause Evan Carter's still considered a
Carter.
prospect, and I think they said Langford.
Langford's
passed
number
him up.
6.
They said Langford passed him up in the Rangers organization as a top prospect.
Yeah, I think he's number 2. I don't know who's in front of him. Unless it's
Leiter's not up there anymore, is he?
no.
He's been a pretty big disappointment.
I know Duran was up there before we traded him.
Not sure St. Mary's gonna be able to close this gap.
No, this is going to be kind of this being the cap to the night. It's a little disappointing. They can't make it more interesting.
Yeah, I was hoping it would come down to like the wire on a game.
Right, same. But I mean, ultimately, all day 2 had to offer was some amazing blowouts and upsets of teams that should not have been upset.
Yeah, I expected Houston to blow them out, but I thought James Madison, Wisconsin was going to be a better game. Obviously, I thought TCU was going to be a better game.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, it's kind of crazy to think. Like, I feel like today had like more upsets, bigger upsets, but I feel like yesterday had like the better day of games.
Yeah,
like all around.
Yeah, those upsets were kind of like all lumped together. There was like 3 out of 4 games all happening at the same time that were the big upsets.
Yeah, there was definitely the Northwestern FAU and the Auburn
Yale
game kind of ending at the same time. But, surprisingly, like that's the only time that's happened so far. I mean, it's only been 2 days, 2 days of basketball, but like that's the only time we've really had like 2 close games finishing at the same time.
Well, St. Mary's is coming back a little bit. Could push it to a 1 possession game, maybe. Right here. Oh, that should have been in. I guess it wouldn't be 1 possession.
See, for what I've seen of this Grand Canyon team, man, they crash the boards.
They got a lot of blocks
That's
too.
always one of my big things, man, right? Is like crash the boards, rebounds. Rebounds are so valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you the ball. They give you second chances.
Ooh.
Good separation, good move.
I should have had that, man. It was a good crossover move. Drove it to the basket and just couldn't get it.
3 possessions in a row there. No score change.
They're getting the stops, but they just can't. You're getting into that territory.
Really makes it tough.
Thinking about threes and fouls.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like I mentioned earlier, though, it's like as you're like losing time. Now you're down to, 90 seconds. You're down by 9. It's a tough. Oh. So you're telling me that shot came off like that and he didn't get fouled?
It's like it's going to be
telling
the
me that
low.
was
I don't
was
know
all
how
ball.
I just watched that back. I don't know how he didn't let him land cleanly. He ran into him.
Right? You see what I'm like? We were talking about like the way they're like trying not to inject themselves in the result, but they're not calling fouls.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know. And I mean, I don't know, maybe I ought to think about it and examine it more from like a basketball perspective, I suppose. But like I can usually appreciate when refs just let the boys play ball, Maybe my perspective is mostly football in that aspect, I guess, in the way that it's like very physical like that, but it feels like all day I've been watching these refs.
Well, the
Just kind
problem
of
is
like really let stuff go.
if you let stuff go, the teams are going to adjust to that and get more aggressive.
Yeah.
And so you got to, at some point, start calling it.
Right?
Man, that ball definitely looks out on St. Mary's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that was a long review for what we really knew after just a couple of replays. Looks like it's the Lopes and the Crimson Tide on Sunday.
Oh, the stop that you need.
So
Stop it.
they're being pretty aggressive for being up by 9 with just over a minute left.
Just
I think
let
they'd
that
run
go.
a little more clock run down.
Right? Yeah.
St.
At
Mary's
least-
keeps shooting
At least
themselves
run
in
it
the
down
foot.
to like 10 before you run a play.
They're just lucky St. Mary's screwed that up. Because realistically, St. Mary's gets a 3. I mean, it's just a 2-possession game. Kind of have to be careful and don't.
Kinda
No,
like
I mean,
we
that's
saw
definitely
in that Yale game, there was a lot of possessions in the last 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of the crazy part about, like threes. It changes this, 4 possession to a 3 possession. It's like,
Well, we saw that same.
but
That,
you've
that
still
game,
got to, get the stops, the defensive.
Yeah. I mean, the reason that Yale Auburn game there were so many possessions is because Auburn got fouled a couple of times. They'd make the first and miss the second, and they just got the rebound. So Yale never got those possessions to try to run down the clock. Auburn just couldn't finish it in the end.
It's like
Now
we're
you're
all
kinda-
quiet for the free throw.
Yeah,
I
you
know,
kind of
right?
you're in that 3-point territory now.
I mean, I genuinely feel like that's one of those situations, like what I was just talking about, though, right? It's like suddenly they're down. There's 61 seconds left, and they're down by 11.
And now they just got to jack up.
What are the odds you come back on that?
I remember a game back. It was so long ago. I think it was Tracy McGrady on the Rockets where he scored like 10 points in a minute to come back and beat the Spurs or something. I just remember that that's so significant to score 10 points in a minute. Because right now
I think I remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
Shoot a 3 foul. Shoot a
It's
3
like a
foul.
record though.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It's we're not talking about something that's like, oh, this would be a big
But
deal.
I mean,
That'd be
that's
like
sports.
one of the biggest comebacks in a long time. Like when you're talking about making threes and fouling and hoping they miss free throws, when you get to about like the second time you're talking about fouling them, it's getting a little ridiculous. But you could keep dragging this out if you wanted to.
Now this is a close replay.
I think it gets overturned.
I was thinking the same thing, right? It's close.
It's okay.
I think that's St. Mary's. St. Mary's ball. Yep, look like it.
Yeah, the silence is a lot more interesting if our listeners are watching this game too.
Right? The anticipation.
Yeah, you kind of have to watch
That
it.
you needed that.
Yeah.
We have to stop here.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Even
more
a foul. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like trap if you can, and then just foul real quick. At what point do they just give up, though? Say if they make both of these free throws, and then you don't make the next three-pointer, because then it'd be a 10-point game, and they have the ball.
So I feel like this goes right into it because again, I don't know what the math is, but obviously somebody figured out at some point that like
I mean, there's
it was
analytics
better to
involved. The
intentionally
coaches know,
foul
yeah.
and send them to the line.
I mean, it makes sense because the most they can do is shoot through. Like, even if you're just going back and forth, they make their free throws, you shoot a three, that's a point. Like, if you keep doing that and you can keep making them, you're just figuring, I just need 10 possessions.
Well, I mean, I even understand it in the sense that it's like you send them to the line and they have to make each shot. Each shot's only worth 1 point
Yeah.
versus like they
Yeah.
get 2 for
You
whatever.
theoretically, if you do this 5 times, if you can make your shots, you got to think, well, they'll miss 1 or 2 free throws in that time period. But you're also averaging about 3 seconds per possession. And see, like right now,
that's
and see,
almost not good.
I wouldn't have gone for the basket there because, like, if they would have missed a free throw, sure, go for that. But all you're doing is making up what they just made and taking 13 seconds off the clock. Like, if you're within, like, I think 5 or 6 points, or even, maybe 7, just go to the basket because it's quicker. But they took a lot of time off the clock to go straight to the basket. Now they're reviewing something else. What are they reviewing?
I guess they knocked the ball out. Oh no, he threw it
Yeah,
off
it looks
his
like
leg. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's off St. Mary's foot. It's pretty easy.
It was close, man. I thought for a second maybe it was off Grand Canyon, but
They're getting pretty crazy with these reviews for such a long game or such a big lead.
Still time.
8-point lead with
Now
not.
now they're putting a little more
It's 8
time
points.
on.
I've seen crazier things happen in sports, but it's not impossible, just improbable.
It's Grand Canyon's ball, though. I mean,
I just gotta say, this first 2 days of the first round have been some enjoyable basketball to watch.
yeah, and I
Man,
still
this
have my
is why
Final
I love
Four
March
intact.
Madness. Like, you gotta love the. I feel like no matter what you do on your bracket and everything, like how upset are you really with like an upset 12/5? You know, even when like Virginia or Purdue got stunned in the first round, it's like holy shit, like way to go, number 16. Like, and suddenly you want them to like win the whole thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Like,
think
man, number 16 beat number 1. Maybe they can take it all the way.
Yeah.
I think people like the Cinderella stories up to an extent, like maybe like the Elite Eight,
Sure.
but we all still want to see Kansas or Kentucky or UConn. We want to see those big heavyweight matchups in the championship.
Sure.
I mean,
And I mean, no matter what,
it was fun to watch.
fans will always want to see their team win.
Yeah, it was fun to watch FAU and San Diego State make runs, but they both made it to the Final Four, and it was kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, they have every right to win and keep going, but it's like That's kind of a lame matchup, you know.
But I mean, I feel like when it's an underdog, like
Let him make it like the
Duquesne
Elite Eight, then dude.
or
But nobody outside
Longwood.
of Duquesne wants to see Duquesne in the championship. I don't feel like.
No, but I mean, like those hardly recognized name schools,
Yeah, for sure.
those-
It's fun to see him make
you
the
know,
Sweet 16 Elite Eight, make a little bit of run. You remember
it's easier to root for them because no one knows.
Yeah,
who
because
they
like you
are.
remember in your head, you know George Mason because they made a run to the Final Four. You know Wichita State for that too. They made one run or whatever.
Like as much as I want to root for TCU as like an underdog in March Madness, which they are, they're much more recognizable than like Duquesne or Longwood or Colgate. Like
Just
most
makes me
people
think of
don't know who
toothpaste.
these places. Oh yeah, they're like who? Like Chicago Loyola, you know what I mean? Like these teams nobody's ever heard of. It's a little easier to root for them when they're the upsetting teams and you're like, oh, I've never heard of them. They look cool. They got cool colors or mascot or whatever it is. They're an underdog.
I like Grand Canyon's uniforms. It says lopes on the jersey, short for antelopes. It's kind of creative. Something I would know. I mean, I don't think we noticed their jerseys before we asked what their team name was. I kind of wish we would have and be like, what the hell is a lope?
I mean, like when you run off and get married.
Yeah. What the heck is a lope?
Man, this guy's shooting's name is Lock Were.
Yeah, transition 3.
That's gay.
Yeah,
Pull it up.
Yeah, he's not gonna foul him. Don't foul him. Oh, he stole the ball. You just play good defense.
Oh
and
shit!
and
Did that just turn into a 3-point play?
It's too little, too late, though, man. He makes
know,
that
right?
still a 6-point game. I guess not. I mean, if you can steal the ball like that again, it's a 2. If he makes this, it's a 2-possession game. I mean, you can foul them within a second.
Well done. I mean, it was too little, too late, but that's a good play right there.
Yeah, I know that was good
Run
though.
into
Like,
your
okay, I'm not
defender,
gonna,
pick the ball up.
I'm not gonna foul him, but I'm gonna play really good defense and kind of make them panic a little bit.
Oh, did he
It's
touch
all
that?
Offensive goaltending?
Goaltending.
That's offensive goaltending. He touched the ball.
I was gonna say,
touched
did he
the
touch
rim.
that? I didn't see that before, but
Yeah, they're reviewing it. They're gonna take those points off the board.
they'll
Yeah,
probably
he
take
didn't
that
touch the
away.
ball, but he touched the rim.
I think he did tip the ball because kind of he touched it and
I
dropped.
think he touched the ball.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Watch it just
And it
barely.
was-
I mean, I think he does hit the rim too, but yeah, I think he gets a little bit of the ball.
Yeah.
That's rough because it was going in.
I
Anyway.
can.
Yeah, they
just
took it
hear what
off.
they're saying.
Yeah, it's 9 points. Yeah, now it's back
Oh,
up to
man.
9.
or whatever.
What a man.
So does that wipe out the foul too, or
Shouldn't wipe out the
Well,
foul.
yeah.
so he'll still get 2 shots? But that makes a big difference because it's still going to be he makes both. It's still a 3-possession game. But so that does make it. That makes a huge deal. And now he missed the shot. So there you go. It's gonna.
Well, see, this is why colleges don't pay their players.
Yeah, man. Hopefully
One
that
for
kid doesn't
two.
catch too much heat for that though, because
Oh my
man,
god, they got a tech.
It yeah, because the chances of them coming back anyways were so crazy. Yeah, I hope they don't say, "Well, we lost because of that."
Nah.
And what about
settle
this right
down,
here?
bro. You
This-
I don't know
slipped.
how that's not a foul.
pushes him. What? How?
I think that was. I don't know.
I mean, they were being a little physical, but he didn't like shove him or knock him over like that.
I think it
that
was
just-
more flop than. I
slipped.
mean, he
Yeah.
kind of pushed him, but yeah, it was more.
I mean, it's fine. Probably call this one the 9-point lead. Jeez.
I mean,
They're putting all the backups in now.
did
even
y'all
at
ever?
the end of the night, not one team I
y'all
thought was going to win ended up pulling it out. man. I'm just
Okay,
having a rough day too.
Who called us doing a live stream at almost 1 a.m. for a St. Mary's and Grand Canyon basketball game? Would you have thought we would be doing this a month ago?
No.
It's kind of
No. I
ridiculous.
mean,
It
is
is
it
March
fun?
Madness, but I mean, I'm tired, but sure.
Sure. I mean, it's a Friday night, you know.
I think right. Well, I'm waking up in a few hours and driving to West Texas tomorrow. So,
Well, you know, game's
so
over.
energy
Get
drinks
outta
are
here.
for. Drinks are for that. Oh man, and that's a wrap for the first round of the big dance. We just have more basketball tomorrow.
Right.
Not quite
Round
as
2
many
starts
games.
tomorrow.
Not quite as many games. We hope everyone's still listening. Actually, we have quite a few listeners still there. We hope y'all had as much fun as we had. But we're gonna have to call it here. But thanks, Tony, Landon. Y'all
Yeah,
made this a lot more
Yeah, I'm glad we could jump on.
a lot more exciting. We were worried that it was
Yeah,
just gonna
right.
be me.
Catch the end of my humiliation. but that's all right. Let's go Texas. We'll just it'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll see them get humiliated now, right? They played. Did they play? No, they played today, didn't they? No, they played yesterday, right? Can't remember. All these games are.
Colorado State. They played. Last night.
Yeah, so they play tomorrow,
They'll
or
play
I guess
tomorrow.
today. Technically today.
Yeah, later today.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll keep y'all up before. Be sure to follow us on social media at Peak One Sports. Keep all that news, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye.